Good morning, everyone. How are you all? I hope you are all excited as I am for this national conference on GST, organized by GST and Indirect Tax Committee of ICAI, hosted by Pune branch, WRC of India. So the theme of our conference is Uddharanam. So there is no friend, no companion, no wealth, no bliss as great as Vidya. Not that Vidya that you may think about, but the knowledge. So I welcome all of you, all our participants, committee members, past committee members, CCM, regional members. So I request all of us to rise for the motto song.
सुप्तेषु जागृति य एष सुप्तेषु जागृति कामं 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 कामपुरुषो पुरुषो निर्विमाणः निर्विमाणः तदेव शुक्रं तद्ब्रह्मा तद्ब्रह्मा तदेवामृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकः शतः सर्वे तदूनात्यपि कश्चन एतद्वैता 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 एतद्वैता.
Thank you. So let me welcome and invite our dignitaries, C.A. Rajendra Kumar P., Chairman, GST and Indirect Taxes Committee of ICAI, our own Chairman, Kashinath Pathare, and C.A. Ajinkar Randive, please. So it gives me immense pleasure to introduce a thought leader, influencer, and a person with reformist mindset. C.A. Rajkumar, he's a CCM member of ICAI. He's on the boards of reputed corporates and in his individual capacity, as well as government nominee. He's an independent director on the board of Central Warehousing Corporation. In his personal capacity, he is an international recognized expert on GST and VAT. He is only Asian on the technical advisory group of the OECD and offers his technical expertise in the area of consumption taxes to the standard setting body. A widely traveled person, he has presented more than 1,000 papers in area of VAT and GST in India and abroad. So I welcome and I invite C.A. Kashinath Pathare sir to felicitate C.A. Rajendra Kumar. Thank you. And so without wasting much of your time, I would like to invite C.A. Rajendra Kumar sir for issues in classification and valuation, including precautions to be taken in GST. Sir, over to you.
Good morning to everybody. Good morning. Very esteemed Chairman of the Pune branch, Kashinath ji. My very dear friend and Central Council member from the Western region, the Honorable Vice Chairman of the GST and Indirect Taxes Committee, the hero in our council, Umesh ji, hero in every aspect, by looks also, by knowledge also. Jadhav ji, whom I have been seeing as a co-opted member for quite some time, other managing committee members, very esteemed members of the Pune branch and other branches who have come here, and other friends who are seated here who may not be members or who are students. It is a great pleasure to come to Western region always, and more particularly Pune. Because in the Western region, if I visited any branch, many times it is one of the branches is Pune. Or rather, Pune is the only branch where I would have visited at least 8 to 10 times. There are many unique features which happen whenever I visit. Today also one happened, and I witnessed it. Our master of ceremonies, your name is Saili, I was told. Saili. So when she came to the dais, she just did like this. She said, "Good morning. How are you all today?" Am I right? Normally you will never hear master of ceremonies asking you, "How are you all today?" Because they are in their own world. Because they have to present something. But here is one master of ceremonies जो अपना हाल पूछ रही थी, आप लोग सब कैसे हैं, ठीक है ना? Very good, madam. It is wonderful of you to have asked how all of us are. Because in our mundane life, we forget asking people, how are you doing? We take friends for granted because we assume foes are not taken for granted. Our family, we take them for granted. So we generally don't ask people, how are you? And especially today in WhatsApp world, we don't ask at all. Immediately we call, अरे इसका GST का रेट क्या है रे बोल, अरे हाल तो पूछ कैसा है, जवाब देने लायक है नहीं है. So that has become so if someone asks, how are you, it's so nice feeling. And particularly to central council member, if someone asks, it's so nice. Generally, people think that central council members are of a different world. They are superheroes. They are politicians who have won elections. They go only in flight. Uta Chetlaji, namaskar. इस रीजनल काउंसिल मेंबर का ध्यान तो रखना पड़ेगा. तो फ्यूचर में वो सेंट्रल में आएंगे तो हम भी ऑर्डिनरी मेंबर ही रहेंगे तब, है ना मैडम? हमारा भी ध्यान रखिए आप. एंड वी गो ओनली बाय फ्लाइट. वी स्टे इन 5-star होटल्स, ये वो इधर उधर. बट देन people do not know the inside story of the central council members. Take the case of Aurangabad. I went to Aurangabad now 2 times. I'll be going 3rd time now. An airport which is very least connected. Very least connected. You don't have the luxury of a Vistara airline going from there directly to some place. You have to depend on Indigos only. And if you miss 1 flight a day, you are finished. That's it. You can't go from there to one place and come back on the same day. Very rare. It's not possible. So you have to stay overnight. Stay overnight means stay in a hotel. What time you will go? Yesterday night I came by 12:15 and I checked out by morning 9 o'clock. So whatever is the hotel, whether it is a 7-star property, ITC Grand or ITC Chola Sheraton as they call in Chennai, it is only that night sleep is required, that's all. Then someone will say, तेरे को रात को सोने के लिए इतना होटल काहे को होना तेरे को? Why you are spending so much? Because that night sleep is important. और कुछ हो गया उस दिन, किसी का कोई फ़ोन आ गया एंड व्हाट्सएप मैसेज हो गया, किसी का कोई सर्च कर लिया, रेड हो गया, अरेस्ट हो गया, कोई सीए को उठा लिया कहीं से, तो मतलब आपको रात की नींद भी गई. So at least you should sleep properly in the night. So I am not praising Central Council members. I am not certainly, because we are also members only. But having spent 22 years in the institute's service, at least I can air whatever I know. And it is also today rare that people know that central council member knows the subject. ये सेंट्रल काउंसिल मेंबर यार क्या पता है इसको, दूसरा काम धंधा नहीं है, पॉलिटिक्स में आ गया है ना. People think that way. I am telling it from this podium. I tell even in my state also. People think that they don't know subject. आता पता नहीं है, दूसरा काम धंधा नहीं है, ऑफिस में कुछ काम नहीं है तो ठीक है, नहीं तो कौन करेगा ये सब, किसके पास टाइम है ये सब नेतागिरी करने की, ऑफिस का काम कौन संभालेगा, महीने का खर्चा कौन देता है. क्या मैं दिख रहा हूँ ना? तो इन्होंने जता दिया कि मैं कितना छोटा आदमी हूँ. तू सेंट्रल काउंसिल में है तो क्या हुआ, तू है तो छोटा ही 5 फीट का. थैंक यू. So this is what, but then let me tell you, this central council is blessed central council. We have, or rather many central councils are like that, maybe few here and there are aberrations may be there. We have giants in the field of knowledge, an expert. And I am blessed to have an expert in Umesh Sharma. ये देखो इसकी बड़ाई कर रहा है, don't feel like that. I am truly telling you. Because if a committee chairman and vice chairman are properly in sync with each other, and where the vice chairman is also in sync with the subject, it is a very rare combination, let me tell you. The two people, the chairman and vice chairman, know this subject. I am not telling I know this subject. I am also a student like you or him, anyone. It is a rare and it is a blessing for the institute. I am not going to tell many things about the committee that I will reserve for the inaugural half an hour का है ना, 5 मिनट बोल सकता हूँ ना inaugural में मैं. I will reserve all those things at that point of time. Now in the committee, the kind of work we do, what we don't do, how we do, etc., I will reserve it at the later point of time. Now when I was asked to speak on this subject, I was happy. Because generally, first thing people don't invite. Because ये साहब busy रहेंगे, वो inaugural करके चले जाएंगे. They themselves tell, वो busy रहेंगे बस. Because they उनको क्या invite करना है, छोड़ दो. And second, why I am happy is because I was given a subject which is my passion. This is my passion. For the last 20 years I have been practicing the area of central excise or service tax or VAT or GST now. नहीं आप में मैं आपको मैं एक सवाल करूंगा सबको. हिंदी भी थोड़ा बहुत मिक्स करके बोल सकते हैं ना? Yeah, because you should know that I am coming from Chennai and I can speak Hindi also very well. I can speak rather 6 languages. 5 languages very fluently, 1 language half broken. मारवाड़ी जैन हूँ मैं, तो मेरी मातृभाषा राजस्थानी है. हिंदी भी बोल सकता हूँ, इंग्लिश बोल सकता हूँ, तमिल बोल सकता हूँ, तेलुगु बोल सकता हूँ, गुजराती मैनेज कर सकता हूँ. गुजराती के साथ भी, गुजरातन के साथ भी. तो आप सभी को एक क्वेश्चन करता हूँ मैं. सब व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में है? Yes or no? Repeat, participate with me. Let us make this session very lively and interactive. WhatsApp ग्रुप में सब लोग हैं? GST भी अभी तो फोर्सफुली प्रैक्टिस करना पड़ता है. एक टाइम तक हमको इंडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस देखने का नहीं, इनकम टैक्स was fine. Today we are all forced to learn, understand and practice GST also. Yes or no? Because wherever there is tax, there is chartered accountant. That's all. Simple. So all of you are in WhatsApp groups. All of you do GST. And have all of you seen any query in a WhatsApp group? What is the rate of GST on this? Yes? There won't be anyone in the audience who says, no, I don't. Maybe our Madam Saili, because she is in accounting standard and IFRS. आपका research हमने कर लिया देखो. So, except for her and few others who are not willing to expose themselves here, many of you would have read these queries on the WhatsApp कि इसका रेट क्या है. तो हमारी उंगलियां जो है एकदम टेम्प्ट की होगी, अब रेट डाल दें अभी इसको 5, 12, 18, whatever, 28, whatever it is, or 0. Yes or no? This is the biggest mistake we are doing. I always tell that. You ask me a rate, you will never get an answer, straight answer from me. And I will tell you why you should not never tell a rate of GST immediately upfront. Why? Because in GST, if there is any area of practice which can pay you more than anything, is this topic of classification. How many of you have read this notification number 1/2017? Bada notification, rate notification we call it, isn't it? GST rate 1/2017, January 20, 2020. No, sorry, no, June 20, 2020. 2017, sorry. Now, this rate notification, how many of you have seen? All of us. Yes or no? It's pura. Have you gone to the end? What is there in end? Something is written there, why we should go? I only want to know the rate of GST. I go to one particular thing. Okay, this is there, 2.5, 5%, SGST, CGST over. That's it. I don't want to go to the end of the notification, correct? But maybe today or tomorrow, go back to your office, open the rate notification and go to the end. Go to the end. At the end of the notification, you will see reference to the Customs Tariff Act. Reference to the Customs Tariff Act. And you will be surprised to note that having read those lines, you feel that, array, why should I see this? Let me first see the Customs Tariff Act. Because the whole rate notification is based on the first schedule to the Customs Tariff Act. How many of you have Customs Tariff Act in your office? It's some 2,000-page book. If you don't have, buy one today or tomorrow. Buy one. Because, you see, there are many things which are not available in notification number 1/2017 which can lead you to a proper understanding. I'll tell you now. Normally, I don't make any PowerPoint presentations. I'm only used to giving an extempore speech. No, I don't like to have paper also in front of me. But here I'm going to show you some pictures. कुछ फिल्म दिखाने वाला हूँ मैं आपको. So I like movies. I see 4 movies a week, जादव जी. अभी 2 दिन पहले दृश्यम 2 देख के आया मैं. आज चेन्नई जाऊंगा, आज रात को ऊंचाई देखूंगा मैं. मेरी ऊंचाई नहीं, फिल्म. मेरी तो आपके आदमी ने बता दी. तो कितना हमको पता है तो कितना बड़ा है. Now look at this first slide. All are simple. जो भी आप स्लाइड देखेंगे ये हमारी आम जिंदगी के इर्द गिर्द है. हमने बहुत बार इन चीज़ों से प्रेम किया है. हमने बहुत बार इन चीज़ों को इस्तेमाल किया है. हमने बहुत बार इन चीज़ों से खेला है. ये क्या है? कौन ऐसा है जो गुब्बारे से नहीं खेला आज तक? सर, एनीवन इन द हॉल कि मैंने बलून से खेला? अभी आजकल के बच्चे आई डोंट नो, बट स्टिल दे ऑल्सो, बिकॉज हैप्पी बर्थडे में तो इवन वी ऑल्सो लाइक टेक ए स्मॉल टूथपिक एंड पोक, वो एक प्लेजर मिलता है हमको, बर्स्टिंग द बलून. दिल तो बच्चा है जी, they say, isn't it? We also like to play with balloon today also. We break it in the... But then do you know, is balloon a product of rubber latex or is it a toy? समझो ये आपके क्लाइंट क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं आपको, उसको ऐसे नहीं देख सकते. और क्लाइंट लेडी है तो आप गए. क्या ऑडिटर साहब हमको ऐसे आज प्रेम से देख रहे हैं? ये बलून, इज इट अ प्रोडक्ट ऑफ रबर लेटेक्स? सी देयर इज अ चैप्टर कॉल्ड रबर. देयर इज अ चैप्टर कॉल्ड रबर एंड इट्स प्रोडक्ट्स. रबर एंड इट्स प्रोडक्ट्स इन Customs Tariff Act. And there is a chapter dedicated to toys. Toys. ये क्या है? Toys. Product of rubber latex. So we get 2 answers in a hall of 600. We get 2 answers. And believe me, the rate of tax in both are different. One is 5, other is 12. One is 5, other is 12. Rubber is 5, toy is 12. तो गलत आंसर दे दिया हम क्लाइंट को. क्लाइंट ने 12 के बजाय 5 लगा दिया समझो, तो भी हम गए. और 5 की जगह 12 लगा दिया तो भी हम गए. Isn't it? Now look at this very peculiar situation which arose in GST. You go to the earlier notification, you open the chapter relating to rubber in GST notification, you will find that balloon is classified under chapter rubber and its products as a product of rubber latex in GST notification. Likewise, you go to Customs Tariff Act, there they say balloon is a toy. But what does the GST notification tell in the end? The whole notification is based on customs. Now look at the peculiar situation your client is in. Now why I am telling is, 95% of the balloons are not manufactured in India. China, Thailand and Sri Lanka. These are the 3 countries from which India imports 95% of its balloons. Now look at, and you know what is the turnover of balloons in the country? Can you imagine? Can you imagine? It might cost 1 rupee or 5 rupees or 10 rupees exactly, isn't it? Not more than that. 5,000 crores. 5,000 crores is the import of balloons into India. Can you imagine? You know why this problem has come? Because under the Customs Tariff Act, the IGST is 12%, because that chapter 12% is the GST rate. But rubber and its product is 5. Which means when an importer is importing balloon, he pays how much IGST? 12%. And when he supplies it domestically, he pays. So, inverted tax structure, na? Which means your input is higher, your output is lower. Why? It is not because of you and me, it is because the law is like that. Custom says it is toy. GST says it is rubber product. And why it happened? The balloons were leviable to excise duty up to 1995. And in 1995, balloon became an exempted commodity under central excise. At that point of time, balloons were classified under rubber and its products. India adopted the entire WCO's classification HSN in 2005. The customs tariff act that you see today is based on World Customs Organization's tariff structure. And under that, balloons became leviable under Chapter 96 toys. But because balloon was an exempted commodity, no one noticed that when it got amended to 2005. And it remained under 96. It remained under Chapter 40, which is rubber. And that way, when GST transition took place, they just took as it is and imported it here, which resulted in an inverted tax structure, inverted duty structure. And to set right this anomaly, it took government 2 years. It took government 2 years. What they did, they removed balloon from rubber products and they landed it up in Chapter 96, which is toys. So today, balloon is classified under toys. So why I am telling you this example is because you will find some products like this, where customs is telling X and GST notification is telling Y. So when a client is going to ask you, what is the rate of GST on this? I remember very well when GST was introduced. And incidentally, today is the birthday of Varghese Kurian, the milkman of India. He was born today, the founder of Amul, one of our favorite milk drink, a man who revolutionized the milk industry in India, and a man who invented two most important things. Do you know what is it? All of you would have flown in aircraft. They give you that milk powder to mixed with tea or coffee. Some of us just open it and eat it like that. I also do. Dil to bachcha hai ji. Till Varghese Kurian invented it, all the companies in the world were making milk powder out of buffalo milk. Because buffalo milk is thicker. Varghese Kurian went to Netherlands, the headquarters of Nestle. And in that book, which is his autobiography, I Too Had a Dream, his autobiography, he went to Netherlands. He wanted to import the technology of making milk powder in India, because India was importing milk powder. So he went to Nestle. He was made to wait for 3-4 hours. It was almost in 1960s. 3-4 hours. And then when he went inside and he was talking, he said, "What, you are coming from India? No, sorry. We can't do all those things. You are incapable of doing milk powder. It's not your cup of tea. You can go." He said, "Okay, I accept this as a challenge. I'll see you next year." He came back to India. He made milk powder from out of cow milk. It is India's introduction, it is India's invention, Varghese Kurian's success, that India taught the world how to make milk powder out of cow milk. And then the same story goes to condensed milk, milk maid and all. That way we remember this great man and salute him for what he did to this great country. Now come to this flavored milk. I tell you, I remember very well in 2017 August, there was one query on WhatsApp, what is the rate of milk? Hey, this is a query. The other person wants an answer immediately. What is the rate of milk in GST? Question mark. Immediately some people say 0, some said 5, some said 12. I asked a question as I always ask a question. I put reply and I asked which milk question mark. What asked the fellow is asking which milk? Indecent fellow. How can he ask that? People might think, no. Immediately queries come, sir, ये क्या पूछ लिया आपने? मैं क्या पूछा? Standardized milk है, flavored milk है, condensed milk है, क्या है? सर, इतना मिल्क होता है क्या? ऐसे इससे भी ज़्यादा होता है. Buffalo milk, donkey's milk, camel milk. Go and see World Customs Organizations, HSN. मिल्क के लिए आपको 40 पेज मिलेंगे, सिर्फ मिल्क के लिए. If not 40, at least 20 pages, so I know. You will find milk. 20 pages. Then he said, sir, normal milk only I am asking. ठीक है भाई, normal milk okay, but you see, you buy milk in the morning, you see the packet, एक green का होता है, एक yellow का होता है, एक red का होता है. So each and every category of milk is different. ठीक है, in India only we know what we are least bothered. Buffalo milk, cow milk, camel milk, goat milk, water milk. You put in tea and drink it off. But what is that milk you are asking the question? Sir, flavored milk. Okay, flavored milk plain or with nuts? Because when you was asking this question, milk was chargeable under 3 rates, sir. 3 rates. 0, 5 and 12. You have 3 rates. And this is one best example I am telling you. You are seeing it here. All of you would have read this advanced ruling, this, that and all, so many things. Now, in GST, it is a very threatening situation. Very threatening situation. Why? It is because if A has done something wrong, A has applied the wrong rate, Z has applied the same rate which A has applied, A, B, C, D, Z, then everyone is wrong. Assume your client is calling you, ये भाव, इसका रेट क्या है, ये प्रोडक्ट क्या है? तो कहीं को पूछता तुम तो ट्रेडर है ना? हाउ ट्रेडर हूँ, परचेज किया ना किया, बिल है क्या है, उसमें रेट है क्या है, बस वो डाल दे, खत्म. But if that purchase rate is wrong, like flavored milk, client खत्म. और जब क्लाइंट खत्म तो हम भी खत्म. क्लाइंट है तो हम हैं, क्लाइंट भी खत्म. This is what happened. At least I am aware, in few cases some chartered accountants called me those days and said, sir, flavored milk पे 5% लगाया है सर. ऐसे गलत है, 12 होगा. सर कैसे सर 12 होगा? ये भी दूध है, वो भी दूध है. हाँ, दोनों दूध है. तू नॉर्मल दूध चाय में डालता है, ऐसे ही पीता है. जब तेरा मूड ऑफ रहता है, गर्लफ्रेंड के पास बैठा रहता है, तो फ्लेवर्ड मिल्क ही पीता है ना. गर्लफ्रेंड को क्या नॉर्मल दूध देगा क्या तू? मैं चाय दूध पी लो तुम प्लीज़. हम उमेश शर्मा हमारा हीरो, इनसे पूछो. तो सर, I said 12%. He said, no sir, I told my client 5%. I said, how did you tell? No, he asked me the question. I said, वो परचेज, तुम तो ट्रेडर है क्या, तुम काय को पूछता हमको, तुम 5% डाल दे बस, तुमने तो परचेज किया, तुम्हारा इससे क्या? I said, गया, क्लाइंट गया, तू भी गया. And those days flavored milk with nuts was 18%. Because he had sold plain flavored milk, not with nuts. Today everything they have amended because of all these problems and they brought it down to 5. So all those people who had sold flavored milk those days, supplied flavored milk those days, applied the rate which from whom they purchased and applied the same rate 5, all are finished. They are all paying from out of their pocket 7%. Because flavored milk was 12 and not 5. It is that very intricate classification which people fail to notice. Because milk is not flavored milk. Flavored milk is a product of milk. It is not milk. That is how you have to differentiate. How you differentiate people? You must more intricately differentiate between a product. For example, rice and paddy. Paddy is agricultural produce. Rice is produce of agriculture. That's why rice is taxable, is leviable to GST at 5, branded rice, and not wheat. Because wheat is agricultural produce. Rice undergoes a process and then becomes something else. So you must be able to differentiate. And why I am telling you all these things now, why this session is very important, at least for me and you and seated here, and thanks to organizers who have very thoughtfully done that. All your clients will be coming under GST audit, or they would already come. Why they come for audit? Not that they want to check up everything is fine, no. Only to garner additional revenue for the government. And from where it can come? When they prove that the rate you applied is wrong, and higher rate you have to apply. So mechanically, instead of putting these things, you need to get into the intricacy. Intricacy. What is this? We eat with tea, we eat with beer, we eat with whiskey, we simply eat also. It's a normal product, isn't it? Who has not eaten this? Sally madam? You also. Accounting standard level is higher. नहीं हमको तो ऐसा ही लगता है दूर से. I was a member of the Accounting Standard Board of ICI. One meeting I attended. After that, I never attended any meeting. But I will forget GST and indirect taxes. I feel your subject is that much tougher. This is banana chips, isn't it? Is it a vegetable product or a fruit product? What is banana? Fruit or vegetable? हाँ? जोर से बोलो भाई. Fruit. हाँ? If kacha is vegetable, pakka fruit. हम तो अभी कच्चे ही हैं. All men are vegetables. Yes or no? हम तो vegetable product ही है. हम fruit कहाँ हैं? Like madam said, कच्चा है तो vegetable है, पक गया तो fruit है. पर ये क्या है? Where to take this? Product, vegetable products are ready to eat. How? So this different, see, I am not telling there may be a differential rate. See, one more example I'll give you. I am also used to travel by Indigo aircraft. Okay? They give that makhana. Makhana, you know, that white color is made of, it is made of what? Lotus seed. Lotus seed. And today there are various plain makhana is there, pepper makhana is there, ये वो सब कुछ डाल देते उसमें और पका के दे देते ये लोग खाओ. Now it can be a challenge for your client. Because plain makhana is what? Is it a vegetable product? It is flour, na? Is flour a vegetable? It is flour, isn't it? It's flour. Is it a vegetable? No, sir. How it can be? Then फिर वो किस में आएगा भाई? A client comes, सर ये मखाना है, देखो इसका क्लासिफिकेशन करो. ए भाई हमसे नहीं होता, उमेश के पास जा. उसका दोस्त है आर के, वो उससे पूछ लेगा. That answer you cannot give your client. He wants an answer immediately from you, isn't it? Sometimes to answer a wife is easy, to answer a client is difficult. Right or wrong? Men can tell that. Jadhav ji said, yes. Very experienced. Now, why I am telling you this example is, look at this. And look at this. Look at these 3 slides. Banana chips, ready to eat, ready to fry. There is a difference between ready to cook and ready to eat. Ready to cook and ready to eat. Ready to eat in certain cases is chargeable at higher rate of GST. And ready to cook is chargeable at lesser rate of GST. Because the process involved. See, today, in fact, those days I remember very well, even today my wife does it. वो हम साउथ से हैं तो इडली डोसा ज़्यादा खाते हैं हम लोग, है ना. तो जी जो बैटर रहता है वो घर पे बनता है. अब तो बहुत बाहर मिलने लग गए. Lot of products are sold outside. अब तो रोटी चपाती भी बाहर मिलती है. आप लेके आ जाओ तवे पे, उसको सेक लो, खा लो, हो गया ख़त्म. So when new products are being introduced on a daily basis, and now I come here to tell one very भाई मेरे कितना टाइम है भाई? अभी 50 मिनट्स है, 50 मिनट अभी और बाकी है. ठीक. The World Customs Organization prepares the HSN, Harmonized Systems Nomenclature. Even if it is before I have to complete, you please tell, sir. Okay, no problem. 30 minutes है, 50 से 30 हो गए एकदम पट. World Customs Organization prepares the HSN, Harmonized Systems Nomenclature. It is available in 6 volumes, some 10,000 pages. 6 volumes, some 10,000 pages. Sir, can you go to website and I can download? Immediately we think of, sir, everything, can I download? Can I download? Can I download? You can download, but you have to pay a fee. You can also buy. Go to World Customs Organization sites, wcoemd.com. And you can buy the HSN, rather import it in India. It costs some 4-5 lakh rupees. The latest version of HSN was notified on 1st of January 2022, wherein 300 new products were added worldwide. 300 new products were added and code numbers were given. So the HSN code that you, me and all of us see is actually the code which is given by World Customs Organization. You and I cannot change it. नहीं भाई मुझे तेरा नंबर, मेरे न्यूमरोलॉजी के सब ये नंबर सही नहीं है, मैं चेंज करता हूँ. You and I cannot do. That is fixed. But I had an opportunity to attend the first public consultation on HSN, which was held in the year 2019, May 2nd and 3rd in Brussels, Belgium. World over, people had come to give various suggestions on various products to influence World Customs Organization that, look, this product is not what you are putting it in the HSN, it is this. And many new products were, in fact, shown on the screen that these are new products which have come. Like mobile phone was not what is it is today. Today it is a personal computer you carry in your hand, but you can talk also. But still it is a mobile phone. It is also a data processing machine sometimes, isn't it? So you need to look into the classification very, very carefully, and that too when it comes to food products, sir. Be very, very careful. You have to be. Because 5 can be 12, 12 can be 18, 18 can be 5 sometimes. All of us are talking about millets. This 2022 is a millets year. Am I right? All of you are aware, millets year. But do you know, products of millets are charged at 18%. So that issue is now with the government. The GST Council, they say, you are celebrating millet year. The Foreign Minister of India goes and makes a statement that you should promote millets and all in outside countries. And you are levying 18%, whereas Haldiram's bhujia is 5%. How is it possible? So you'll know soon that some change is going to come in products of millets. No, Horlicks is also that only, sir. So Horlicks should be 18. Don't look at like that. I mean, board is talking like that, I am telling you. The next GST Council meeting, via video conferencing, is on December 17th, next month. So you may find rate changes here and there. Now, it is not the rate change that is important, it is the product classification which happens because of the rate change that is important. Now, if some of you are in textile industry, take the Customs Tariff Act and take the section relating to textiles and the chapters associated, some 10-15 chapters. Look into it very carefully where your client's product is coming and compare it with your GST notification. So, इसके लिए सब client पैसा नहीं देता है, sir. Client doesn't pay you for all these things because he does not know, isn't it? But then for your own understanding, you can do that. And that is how classification in the pre-GST era was biggest paying consulting practice, and it happens to be in GST era also today. When you give an opinion, when you give a view on the rate notification, please don't, humble request, don't give free of cost. And don't answer in the WhatsApp at all, or other phone also. I will tell you my personal example. It happened in the year 2001, almost 20 years before. Service tax, many experts are sitting here. Sir is also there. One chartered accountant called me over phone and said, RK, my client who is painting walls. And what is the service tax? I said, wall ke painting, there is no service tax, it is exempted. No, that is not there. Okay, the next day, can you give an opinion? I said, okay, I can give you. But you send me a written query. So he sent a written query on the letterhead of the client. The client's letterhead, the query came. And then I replied, service tax is applicable. My original reply was not applicable. My new reply is applicable. And he said, you said yesterday, you said not applicable. Today you are writing an opinion like this and giving. I said, look at your client's letterhead. It says X, Y, Z and company interior decorators. So the client is not merely painting wall, he is an interior decorator. And one of his job is to paint walls. And those days interior decorators came under the service tax levy. I think it was in 98 or 99. Isn't it? What is this? I am showing you all the products which you have seen, felt, used, isn't it? Mango jelly. Please go to GST notification and see whether you can find a rate. I challenge every one of you. ये क्या है? ये देख लिया आपने? नेक्स्ट आई विल शो यू. ये क्या है? This is fruit infusion. But normally, fruit infusion, we are, sir, green tea, sir, this is papaya flavored green tea. That's how we call it. Example I am telling. Mango flavored green tea. But both are two different product classification under the customs law. Chargeable at different rate of customs duties. Chargeable at different rate of customs duties. Be conscious of that. किसने यूज नहीं किया है? आपने नहीं किया, आप पहले से ही खूबसूरत है, आपको क्या जरूरत है? उमेश ने तो किया ही नहीं रहेगा, वो और खूबसूरत होता, हम जैसों को डेंजर हो जाता फिर. सबने किया ना? ऑल ऑफ अस हैव ट्राइड दिस. किसी ने इसका एडवर्टाइजमेंट जिंगल सुना है? बताओ. यस सर. वीको टर्मरिक, नहीं कॉस्मेटिक, वीको टर्मरिक आयुर्वेदिक क्रीम. Do you know the genesis of this jingle? बोलो. Very nice. Accounting standard person is telling. The matter went up to Supreme Court. The matter of excise duty leviability on Vico turmeric, this cream went up to Supreme Court. Central Excise had issued a huge demand, crores of demand on the manufacturers of Vico turmeric, and said this is cosmetic. This is cosmetic. This is a cosmetic cream which is used to enhance the beauty of the person. See, so what they say, enhance the beauty. They don't say beauty is something it's inbuilt. You only enhance it. You cannot bring beauty. No one can do that. To enhance the beauty of a person, to protect everything, the skin and all, it is not the job. Its job is to enhance the beauty. It is only a cosmetic cream. It has got nothing to do with Ayurveda, nothing like that. Then Supreme Court, it went up to Supreme Court. Supreme Court, after reading everything, after presentations were made by both the sides, said that Vico turmeric is not a cosmetic. It is an Ayurvedic product prepared from proper chapters of Ayurveda. Ingredients have been picked up from there. And hence, this is nothing to do with cosmetic. It is a health product to protect your skin, facial skin. Because those days, this product was exempted, nil excise duty, whereas cosmetic was 36%. 36% excise duty I am telling. And then you had special additional excise duty also on that. Special excise duty, SCD also was there because cosmetics are very highly chargeable, only film stars used to use it. So sometimes the judgments which have been delivered by the courts also can come to your rescue when you deal with a classification issue, like what happened in Vico turmeric. It is health based. Next time I am going to show you one more cream, which normally now we will use it in सर्दियों के मौसम में. Is this the same as Vico turmeric? Is this the same as what Ayurveda does in Vico turmeric? This also protects, This gives a protective layer is put so that the skin doesn't break out of cold. So you put this. But this is not Ayurveda. This has got nothing to do with your health. This is not curative product. Vico turmeric is curative, this is not curative. So differential rate structure. All of us know, isn't it? Smartphones, you open a box of Samsung box and you will find charger in that, you will find this wire, you will find phone, everything. But when the entire product is sold in a pack, the pack gets the character of the main product. There are 6 rules to classification, friends. You go to Customs Tariff Act, Section 3, there are 6 rules to classification. 6 rules. Please read all those 6 rules. And this is one of the rules which I said to you. When a product is sold in a packing with all its ingredients, the product which gives the pack the main character is the classification and not the other substances, other products which are associated with the main product. If a charger is sold separately, it is charger, but when it is sold with a mobile phone, it is a mobile phone and not a charger. Of course, many people have done many types of research on this. People have also planned their businesses based on the rate structures available. And GST will always be an interesting subject for all of you as far as classification is concerned. Someone asked me, sir, what will happen? Everything automation is going on. Whether GST practice will close for chartered accountants. No. Your practice is going to increase. Because as long as there are 3, 4, 5 rates, as long as there are tinkering with rates, as long as economy goes up and down, which always will, and as long as there are elections in a country, GST rates will go up and down, GST changes will be there. You will find it on December 17th also, when some changes will be announced. Some sections will be amended in the budget 2023. So friends, GST is not merely filing of a GST return. GST is not merely matching the 2A with all the other returns. GST is not merely applying for refunds and getting the refunds. Much beyond, GST is a very highly technical subject when it comes to rate of taxes, which we call it classification, world calls it rate of tax. That is the only difference. So be very conscious and ensure that you get into this practice also. Do a small research among yourselves, your clients. Just pick up one invoice and see what is the product. Go to GST rate notification. Go to customs. Read what it is. And if you find a difference, your mind should start thinking. Your mind should say that, yes, I need to do more research on this as to what it is. There are many Supreme Court judgments which have decided on many of the products. Many of the products. There was a judgment of the Supreme Court on pineapple. Can you believe it? Pineapple. Today, if you want to go eat a pineapple, is it available? Is it available in the month of June? It's available in a box, isn't it? It is sliced, cut and put in a box and then sold. That went up to Supreme Court. Department said this is product of pineapple. The assessee said this is pineapple. Supreme Court said, yeah, this is pineapple. Someone wants to come to a shop to buy pineapple. The person came. He was given this box, that's all. That is also pineapple, this is sliced pineapple, no difference, finished. That is the kind of, and I can tell you now today, many matters will go up to Supreme Court in GST. Just wait and watch. On rates alone. Friends, thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity. To the extent possible, I have tried to present my views on this subject that I know little. And I know all of you seated here will appreciate the fact that this subject is of extreme importance because it strikes on the very root, the gross. The gross. Because the rate of GST is on the gross and not on the net, like income tax. So let us all be happy that we are into something interesting in the GST world coming up. And as a closing remark, I would say that if you are in the practice of GST, your thoughts, your mind, your feelings, your emotions will never become old. Your body might. Because GST is ever changing and your mind is always active. So when a mind is active, everything else is active in your body. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
So how are you feeling now? I'm sure as profound, as electrifying as his speech was. So, Ghani Khamma sir, mane GST kai aave nahi, पण तरी. So when I was asked for this to do the MOC for GST, so my first reaction was like, no, I cannot because I know nothing, like little, it is like quite alien to me. But then had I said no to this, I would have missed the opportunity to listen to him. It brings back to me to a memory lane where the reading between the lines for our excise or for that matter the indirect taxes. So that is something I really appreciate being here. Now may I please ask C. Ajinkya Randive for vote of thanks.
Thank you, Saili. Good morning, everyone. I see Ajinkya Randive. Once again, welcome you all for the National Conference on GST. Sir, today for this topic, I was told that no one could give more justice than you. It's expertise. So, and truly, after listening to you, we all were glad and we were very. And with your examples, I will say it was really food for thought. Sir, I thank you for all your efforts in coordination and everything for today's happening today's session. I am also always grateful to you for all the support guidance throughout the conference coordination. We thank you for all your time and effort for the wonderful knowledge sharing session, sir. Thank you very, very much. Saili?
Thank you, sir. Seriously, I never thought about it. I was just hogging on the delicacies, banana chips and green teas. I never thought of like which one is more in the rate in terms of rates. So thank you once again for your insights. So may I please head towards our inaugural session. So I invite dignitaries on the stage. Shri Dhananjay Akhade, Honorable Additional Commissioner of State Tax, Pune Zone. He'll be there in a while. C.A. Rajendra Kumar sir, GST and Indirect Tax Committee of ICI. C.A. Umesh Sharma, Vice Chairman, GST and Indirect Tax Committee. Chandrasekhar Chitare sir, I'm sure he'll be joining us soon. He is a Conference Director and CCM. C.A. Kashinath Pathare, C.A. Ruta and C.A. Amruta. And Rishikesh, please. C.A. Moshmi also. Come. Lightning of the lamp. Last minute after that? Okay. By the time you guys can come. स्वप्नील लॅम्प आणतोस काय ते की तिथेच ठेवूयात So while the arrangements are going on, you may sit and relax for more such great discussions happening. So there's one announcement. We all have been given the feedback form. Please carry it tomorrow because you have to submit it tomorrow. So without fail, I've got this reminders. And the food coupon for tomorrow would be different. So don't worry about it. And if you have any special queries or something which you need to get it solved through our panelist, you may give it to me or to Swapnil. So RK sir has graciously accepted our request. If you have any query, any particular question, you may ask him directly right here.
Any questions?
ऐसे हो नहीं सकता सर कि क्वेश्चंस नहीं है. एक तो पूरा समझ आया या कुछ नहीं समझ आया. और पूरा समझने के लिए जीएसटी बहुत ही गहरा है आई थिंक.
For 12A and ATG just for 12A and 1023C, something can you please throw light on it?
Good question. This is you're talking about services. See, basically, consumption taxes do not distinguish between profit or surplus. Do not distinguish between business which is for the purposes of making a profit or an entity which is in existence for the purposes of the society. There's nothing called as a charitable activity or charitable trust related thing in GST. Anything that is for a consideration, whether it is in kind or in money, is within the ambit of the consumption taxes. And it is only in the exemption notification you will find a brief reference for activities done by a charitable trust. See, there are two kinds of exemptions: entity-based exemption and activity-based exemption. There are two kinds of exemptions. In central excise, you had both. You had entities exempted, you had activity also exempted. But in GST, you will never find entity-based exemption anywhere. There is only activity-based exemption. There is no entity-based exemption. That is why you will find clubs, societies, apartment associations, welfare associations. There's nothing called as mutuality as far as GST is concerned. Supreme Court talked about it in service tax because the law was like that, but that is not extended to GST. Now, if you read the European Union's VAT legislation, they also work, or India works more like a European Union's. They have VAT Council, we have the GST Council. There are around 28 countries which are together. We are about 30 states who are together. We have one law, they also have one law. We issue notification, they also issue notification. The only difference is, we have common rate in India, there they don't have common. There is a bandwidth which is given. So product may be 5% in Belgium, the product may be 12% in France. There also you will find only activity-based exemptions. There is no entity-based exemption anywhere. Hence, whether it is a charitable trust, sir, I am a charitable trust, sir, GST is not applicable or not, I am running a school. Even school also. Even schools also. Education. Education also is an activity. School is an entity, remember. School is an entity, education is an activity, activity is exempted. School is not exempted. In activity, not the entire activity. A part of the activity is exempted. And let me tell you, Ruta madam, in GST, you must always be careful about exemptions. रेट लगा दिया ठीक है वो 5 से 12 हो गया but exemption you have to be very careful. Many large audiences seated here. Honorable additional commissioner sir also has come. Our vice chairman has escorted him and he is sitting here. Sir, from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, I bring you greetings. One. Second, from our institute, we have already sensitized the government of India by doing a research on aggregate turnover and told the government, you are leading the country to an era of non-compliance unknowingly, not knowingly, unknowingly. We did a study, our vice chairman was a part of it, that what is aggregate turnover in numerous countries, what it is in India. I will give you one example. Don't think that department is seated here because we are also creation of the government of India. Education is an entity, is an activity, school is an entity, correct? Jadhav ji is a very big man, great name today in education field in India. Now, in school, you take a school's profit and loss account or rather income and expenditure account. Income side, you will find fees is the major component, isn't it? But there is also sale of old furniture.
Yeah.
There is also sale of old library books. There is also sale of old newspapers. There is also sale of old vehicles. Are these exempted? Turnover, let us say, the aggregate turnover of this school is from the fees, it's let us say 80 lakhs. And 5 lakhs the school has earned from sale of old library books. कबाड़ी वाले को बेच दिया 5 लाख रुपया मिला हमको. Is this activity exempted? No. Why? Because of the definition of aggregate turnover, killer definition I call it, killer. Because for the purposes of levy of GST, you see aggregate turnover and not the taxable turnover. If you are going to see aggregate turnover, it is 85 lakhs for this school. And बिचारे 5 लाख के लिए कौन रजिस्टर करेगा, कौन सरफोड़ी करेगा? रूटा चिटले के पास आएंगे तो वो खुद 50,000 रुपया फीस ले लेंगे स्कूल से. किसके लिए? 5 लाख के लिए. तो इंडिया में कम से कम एक 50 लाख स्कूल होंगे. 50 lakhs into 5 lakhs मल्टीप्लाई करो. डिपार्टमेंट का उतना रेवेन्यू स्वाहा गया. But not practical, isn't it? Not practical. So certain amendments are required somewhere in the law and it is a process. So thank you for asking me this very pointed question. Thank you very much. Thank you.
May I please request and invite dignitaries on the stage, Sri Dhananjay Akhade sir, Honorable Additional Commissioner of State Tax, Pune Zone, C.A. Rajkumar sir, Chairman GST and Indirect Tax Committee, C.A. Umesh Sharma sir, Vice Chairman GST and Indirect Tax Committee, Ruta Chitare, C.A. Kashinath Pathare, Program Coordinator and Chairman Pune Branch, Vice Chairman Rajesh Agarwal sir, Secretary Pune Branch Pritesh Munot, Treasurer Pranav Apte, Managing Committee Member Amruta, and Vikasa Member C.A. Moshmi.
Request all Managing Committee members to join for lightning of the lamp. I also request M.S. Jadhav sir to join.
So briefing of the conference and opening remarks, may I please ask CA Kashinath Pathare, Program Coordinator and Chairman, Pune Branch of WRCF ICA.
Namaskar. Very good morning, all of you. Our today's chief guest, respected Dhananjay Akhade sir, Additional Commissioner at GST. Our Indirect Tax Committee Chairman, Rajendra Kumar P sir. Umesh Sharma, our Vice Chairman, Indirect Tax Committee. Ruta Chitale, RCM, and my all committee colleagues, Rajesh, Pritesh, Pranav, Rushikesh, Amruta, Mosmi ma'am, and all. Firstly, I sincerely thanks to all of you for overwhelming response to this national conference. I am CA Kashinath Pathare, Pune Branch Chairman. Thanks Indirect Tax Committee for granting national conference at Pune, and also Chairman and Vice Chairman of Indirect Tax Committee to be present here and give us their valuable time. Also, I thanks to Akhade sir for accepting our invitation and come here. Thank you, sir. As the Chairman of Pune Branch of WRC of ICI, I am delighted to extend a warm welcome to all of you at this wonderful milestone in Pune Branch calendar. I am so pleased that we can gather today in person for this wonderful national conference. Thank you. Wish you happy learning. Thank you.
Namaskar. Thank you, Saili. Dignitaries on the dais and all the eminent chartered accountants and other guests of the dais. A very good morning to all of you. I think it is now almost afternoon, but still. This is indeed, I'm very thankful to the organizers and the coordinators for not only inviting me to this wonderful program, but also asking me not only to share the dais, but also my views with all of you. So thank you very much. Having said so, I will just like to extend what we were talking a few minutes before with Rajendra Kumar sir about charitable institutions. Sir, I'll take this opportunity to represent and put forth my views that I understand that activities need to be taxed and not the entities will be exempt. But at the same time, this being Pune, and I would like to say this, that in Pune, at this national conference from this dais, I would request that please consider the charitable organizations and give them certain specific exemptions, some kind of lesser taxes, because what happens typically to smaller organizations is that they thrive on donations. Now, donations also to certain extent are taxed, I suppose, in GST as under RCM. So I request, sincere request to you, I'm not a representative of any trust or so, but I'm doing my practice in trust. So having seen so many charitable institutions, they are facing hardships, especially related to, typically there are constructions of schools, colleges, and they are charged at a very high rate of tax. So, and especially use of donations is made for making this type of construction. So this is my sincere request to the entire committee also to please study this. And why Pune? I like to say this in Marathi, कारण पुणे हे विद्येचं माहेरघर आहे. आणि या विद्येला माहेर पुरवणाऱ्या सामाजिक शैक्षणिक संस्था या पुण्याच्या अभिमान आहेत. So having said this, this is I think the right dais. Thank you. This is the right dais to say so. So my sincere request for this. Lastly, I'll also like to ask the audience here that we at WIRC as well as the Central Council are always encouraging new speakers, and I wish to see new faces. So at WIRC also we have, especially for women members, a seminar called WOW, that is Women's on Wednesdays. So I request all of you, whoever wants to share, participate, present, please talk to us, all of us here on the dais. I will definitely welcome you. So I will say so. Thank you so much for giving me a patient hearing. Thanks.
Thank you, Rutara. So it is so reassuring when such learned representative in CCM or RCM for that matter. So may I please now request CA Umesh Sharma, Vice Chairman, GST and Indirect Taxes Committee to have his views, please.
Good morning. Thank you to Pune branch for inviting us for this national conference. विद्येचे माहेरघर पुणे आणि मी पण इथेच CA झालेलो आहोत. So I have very profound memories as a student in this city. Thanks to our Chandrasekhar Chidle sir, Central Council member from Pune, for giving us an opportunity to host a program under the aegis of Indirect Tax Committee of ICI. Chairman RK sir, you have seen him, the all-rounder performer. You can classify him as one of the best speaker. Thanks sir for your session on classification. पुणे तिथे काय उणे असे म्हणतात आणि इथून जे आपले रिजनल काउन्सिल मेंबर आलेले आहेत यशवंत कासार, दो ही इज नॉट देअर, ही इज वन ऑफ द बेस्ट फ्रेंड अँड त्याच्या नावामध्ये यश आहे तर पुण्याला यश मिळणारच आहे ब्रांचला. थैंक्स टू द पर्सन हु इज़ मोर स्वीटर दैन द स्वीट्स. मिठाई से भी जो मीठे हैं, चितले मिठाई रूता. एज अ regional council member we work together, and when we have a chairman who is Kashinath, the person who speaks less but do more. So you have a very good chairman and hats off to his efforts for this beautiful conference. Then we have a king of ruler, that is Rajesh, who is a person in the indirect tax, from service tax, from VAT era. We are the friend and he has done a lot for this conference. So hats off to Rajesh for your efforts. Then most smiling and most lovable hero, जिसका नाम प्रीतेश. Pritesh means lovable person. So he is there in the council, in the managing committee, who is working hard. And then comes कि जो भगवान का नाम लेते हैं, जिसको हम बोलते हैं कि ओमकार, ओम. What is the name? That is the Pranav. So Pranav is also there. The God is there with the managing committee. He is working very much for the betterment of our profession. Then comes Rishikesh Badwe, who is there. His name is synchronizing कि जो mountains के भी शेष है, the Rishikesh. So we have such a person who is a knowledgeable person. And then comes कि भाई कोई गलत काम ना हो, कुछ ना हो, तो एक अमृत वाला पर्सन हमारे इसमें चाहिए. तो वैसी वो मैनेजिंग कमेटी मेंबर और ऑलराउंडर पर्सनैलिटी सचिन, जो बैट्समैन है हमारे, मेरा दोस्त है, पुराने हम क्लासमेट है, साथ में फेल हुए हुए, साथ में पास हुए हुए है. सो वी हैव प्लेड अ लॉट ऑफ एजुकेशनल गेम्स. देन कम्स द पर्सन हु इज़ अजिंक्य. सो पूना इज़ हैविंग अ वेरी गुड मैनेजिंग कमेटी मेंबर्स और सबका मौसम अच्छा रखने वाली मौसमी. So we have very good person, very good team, and in this game of GST, आपण मराठीमध्ये म्हणतो की GST ही कुस्ती आहे, ज्याच्यामध्ये करदाता आणि कर अधिकारींमध्ये कुस्ती. त्याच्यामध्ये आपण कोण आहोत? जज. पण या आखाड्याचे किंग कोण आहेत? तर आपले आखाडे सर, पुण्याचे ॲडिशनल कमिशनर. So thanks sir for joining us on this occasion. He has to go to Mumbai. Lots of marriage appointments are there, but he has made time to come and present his views. So with these words, I have another session after the lunch. वो जिम्मेदारी मेरे ऊपर दी गई है कि किसी को नींद ना आए. So I will try my level best and I will stop here and wish you all a happy learning. Thank you.
थँक्यू उमेश सर. इतकं छान कोणी एलॅबरेट केलं नसेल नावांबद्दल. सो सेटिंग द टोन राईट. नाव सर, वी वुडंट माइंड इन्व्हायटिंग यू अगेन अँड अगेन टू द डायस. सी ए राजेंद्र कुमार सर, टू हॅव युअर ओपनिंग रिमार्क्स प्लीज.
Kashinath ji, chairman of the branch. My vice chairman, my younger brother, my friend, my motivation. Umesh ji. Ruta Chitale, when she was the chairman of Pune branch also I was here. Other managing committee members about whom Umesh ji has in detail told. So whatever Umesh ji does, I will not repeat it. That is our bonding. Even in the committee also, हम लोगों ने काम डिवाइड किया कि उमेश आप ये करेंगे, हम ये करेंगे. And whatever he does, it comes to my table, I'll just say approve, that's all. I should not even look into it. And that's how he is also. And above all, हमारे चीफ गेस्ट साहब अखाड़े जी जो यहाँ पे पधारे, नमस्कार आपको. In fact, I wanted to speak many things about the committee. But I won't bore you because the guest also has to go to Mumbai. But, sir, आप हिंदी और इंग्लिश वंडरफुल ग्रेट मिक्स लैंग्वेज मराठी हमको नहीं आती सर वो कुटे आती है बसा आता है जेवन आता है बस और कुछ नहीं आता है The GST and Indirect Taxes Committee is the largest committee in the institute. Our institute is not an association. We are not a charitable trust. We are not a society. We are not a company. But above all, we are a proud creation of Parliament of India. Even before India adopted its constitution, today is Constitution Day. November 26 is the Constitution Day. When the Constitution was adopted, all of you may be aware, today is also the birthday of Varghese Kurian, and today is also the day when the Constitution of India was adopted by the Constituent Assembly. That yes, we are adopting this constitution and we will notify it from 26th of January. So we are created by the Parliament of India in 1949, much before the constitution also was adopted. India was adopted constitution on 26th November, whereas institute was born on July 1. That is the amount of importance the then government gave to this institute, that this institute has to be created before anything is created in this country. And we also work like Government of India or any state government with ministries. We have committees. And GST committee is the largest committee. We have about 60 members, can you believe it? 60 members. I run a large cabinet. 60 members, sir. And I don't even bother about quorum because automatically the quorum comes in every meeting. And so much amount of work we have done, we have been doing and will do also, which will make every chartered accountant proud about their involvement in GST, let me tell you. In fact, June 30th, 2022 was the last day when the compensation shall be paid to the state governments. After it ended, no more compensation from July 1. And then we decided in April, because हमारे भी खबरी रहते हैं सब जगह, हम भी अकेले नहीं, खबरी लोग रहते हैं हमारे, सरकार में चाहो बाहर सरकार में भी. तो हमको ये बोला कि भाई जून 30 के बाद किसी को कॉम्पनसेशन नहीं मिलेगा, तुमको जो प्लान करना है कर लो, ये एजेंडा में ही नहीं है काउंसिल के. And we decided in April that we will now reach out to the state governments in India and handhold them. I can tell you today, close to 8,000 officers in government, in state governments, we have trained them. Capacity building from April onwards. Myself and Vice Chairman, sir, are traveling across the country only for this purpose. I was in Jaipur yesterday. Government of Rajasthan State SGST Department training program commenced yesterday. It's a 2-day program. Somewhere it is 2 days, somewhere it is 3 days, somewhere it is 5 days, depending on the states. And tomorrow I am going to Assam. Government of Assam SGST officers training program commences on 28th and goes up to 30th. Haryana and Tripura are in the queue. We have already completed Maharashtra. I appeal to Pune also. Our Vice Chairman sir is there. Chandrasekhar Bhai Chitale, my very dear friend, for 2 decades. He's not available today here. But with the Chitale sir, fine. Like Chitale means everything is fine. Madam is seated here. And Chandrasekhar Chitale sir told, sir, ये करना है सर, करो ना सर, क्या है? Pune branch, excellent branch, please do. So I request the honorable guest here, ki, sir, please you also avail of our services. Skill your officers, build the capacity of your officers from the lowest level to the highest level, I can tell you. Because Institute believes in partnering, we are partners in nation building. You come under Ministry of Finance of Government of Maharashtra, we come under Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Government of India. The only difference between you and us is we have administrative and operational autonomy. See, many people talk to me, "Arey, sir, why this ye ho gaya, government ka kuch nahi hai." The government does not interfere in your appointments. The government does not interfere in your salary payments. The government does not interfere in your expenditures incurred. You need not go to the government for each and everything. That is a functional autonomy, operational autonomy. So this is one of the biggest trust which the government has put in us. Tutaji was talking about trust. Madam, I don't practice in this area exclusively. But you trust me that I will take up your trust matter with the government. In fact, our institute's publications are today one of the most well-drafted publications. There have been members in Pune who have contributed to those publications. We have 28 publications of our institute available for free download, and some publications are so economically priced at 50 rupees. Gupta ji, namaskar. Some publications are priced at so economically, 50 rupees, 75 rupees. I can tell you department uses these publications extensively. And much we have gained from many seniors like Gupta ji, who seated here from the days when consumption taxes was, I knew, I have known, I have read his books. Thank you for coming here, sir, being a part of this exercise and being a part of the learning of the institute. We salute you for what you are. Why I am in awe of people like him is because those days when there was no one who was practicing excise or very lesser in service tax, very lesser in sales tax, brave men like him, they came forward. Because central excise में क्या मिल किसको पता है क्या मिलता है? Income tax only was the bread and butter. Then people are there, like, so I can also try. So they are all soldiers who laid the battleground for all of us to fight on. So रास्ता नहीं होता है तो सरकार आके रोड बनाती है तो सब आराम से टू व्हीलर पे कार पे चलते हैं. तो इन्होंने रोड बनाई, हम गाड़ी चला रहे हैं. Thank you very much. And all of you seated, let me tell you that our committee will be second to none in expressing the interest of members as well as industry. There are two things. There is something which member related, something which is industry related. Please don't mix up both the things. Someone comes and tells me, sir, this is date ka extension chahiye hi chahiye. Yes, we will represent, but get me a letter from the industry association. Get me a letter from them and we will do it very nicely, because government will say, what is your problem? Why you are stopping my late fee by asking for representation? Then I can tell the government, no sir, I am not asking, this industry is asking me. You answer them. So our hands are strengthened when we have representations from industries, from trade bodies. You are talking about trust, madam. Get me 2-3 letters from the charitable organizations and our hands are strengthened. We can fight more. We can represent more. Friends, I won't take much time. I congratulate the branch for organizing this, for giving me one more opportunity to express my feelings and emotions, for talking to you, and also for being in this wonderful city of Pune and with my friends like Chitleji, Umeshji, and so many of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So it gives me immense, With the proud, may I please introduce our guest, Dhananjaya Khade sir. So he joined the department as Class 1 officer, sales tax officer in 1991. During his tenure, he worked in assessment, appeals, investigation, large taxpayer unit and tribunal. Since June 2016 till September 2020, he was associated with GST law making, law drafting processes, representing Maharashtra at national level. He was actively part of Law Committee, Fitment Committee, and Export Committee. He is All India co-convener for the Sectoral Committee on Banking, Insurance and Finance. He attended many GST council meetings, assisted the finance minister of the state. He has been felicitated for a contribution in GST lawmaking and GST implementation process by then Union Finance Minister and the chairman of the GST Council, late Shri Arun Jaitley. He has been felicitated by the Revenue Secretary, Finance Ministry, Government of India, and also by the State of Maharashtra for contribution in GST implementation. And he is presently working as Additional Commissioner of State Tax, Pune Zone. Welcome, sir. Now, may I please request C.A. Rajendra sir, Umesh sir, and Kashinath sir to felicitate Dhananjaya Khade sir. So be there, everyone. May I please request C.A. Ruta, C.A. Ajinkya, and C.A. Rajesh, sir, to felicitate C.A. Rajendra. Nice. C.A. Ruta, C.A. Ajinkya, and C.A. Rajesh to felicitate C.A. Rajendra, sir. Thank you. And now may I please request C.A. Pritish, C.A. Pranav, and C.A. Moshmi to felicitate C.A. Umesh Sharma, sir. Now may I please request C.A. Amruta, C.A. Sachin, and Rishikesh to present a token of gratitude to Jadhav, sir. And Amruta, would you mind talking a little bit about Jadhav, sir? Yeah.
सायली म्हणजे हक्कानी कौतुकाची थाप देणारे आणि कान धरणारे हे जाधव सर होते. वॉट एवर अँड वेन एवर वी स्टक अप वेन द कोऑर्डिनेशन ऑफ दिस प्रोग्राम वॉज गोइंग ऑन, इट वॉज जाधव सर हू हॅज ऑलवेज हेल्प्ड अस अँड बीन अ ग्रेट सपोर्ट फॉर ऑल द थिंग्स थ्रू आउट द इव्हेंट ऑर्गनायझेशन. सो थँक्यू सो मच जाधव सर. We would also like to request you to give a big round of applause to Jadhav sir, because recently he is the only and first CA in India to get a D.Litt offered by University of Assam, and congratulations and many compliments from every one of you. Thank you, Jadhav sir.
Thank you, everyone. So without wasting much of time, may I please request Akhade sir to have your opinions.
Good morning all. Respected Sri Rajendra Kumar Jain ji, Chairman GST and Indirect Tax Committee, ICAI. Mr. Umesh Sharma, my friend, is Vice Chairman, GST and Indirect Tax Committee, ICAI. Mr. Pathare, and the other dignitaries present on the dais, today's eminent speakers, and all the participants of the National Conference of GST here. inaugural address should be sweet, short, and precise. I'm going to follow that. At the outset, I congratulate GST and Indirect Tax Committee of ICAI and Pune branch of WIRC for organizing such an august gathering. I am also grateful to the organizers, as it is an honor to be asked to address the annual gathering. We all the stakeholders, having different roles to perform, have witnessed the 5 years of GST. While bringing in the GST enactments, we as governments have tried our best to overcome almost all the shortcomings of indirect tax systems in India present in pre-GST era. It was quite a thoughtful process behind it, while putting in business process, the scheme of the act, the procedural rules, and over and above the IT systems in sync with all this. We therefore claim that the introduction of GST was a significant step towards making India economically competitive by ushering in higher transparency, lower transaction costs, and improved compliances. The most challenging part of GST introduction and implementation thereafter was to strike a balance between need for compliance and trade facilitation. While compliance is important, trade facilitation is crucial for the economy. While bringing in all taxation system existed in pre-GST era under one roof, what was most challenging but inevitable was to have a robust centralized IT system, especially the front end for the business processes and back end for the tax administration. I think to great extent we were successful in putting in place the efficient IT system. It is a tax regime founded on a technology-based monitoring system with e-business process like e-return, e-invoice, e-way bills, etc. We all know all the revenue flows through the return, that is GSTR 3B, which is a payment return. To have a smooth sailing of GST system, compliance discipline was equally important while considering a facilitation to taxpayers. So fixed timeline, certain validations were the obvious fallouts. Many of the times it is found difficult and cumbersome for taxpayers, we agree. However, while we also thrive for simplicity, compliance discipline has to be inculcated amongst the taxpayers, which is inevitable. Protection of revenue, prevention of leakages rather, is another vital issue. The administration is trying hard to put a complete check on it. Certain unscrupulous element, however, tries to create the loopholes. A bogus billing system, then bogus exports are the major ones which we are trying to control to our extent. Many times, to overcome such clandestine activities, certain inbuilt checks and balances have to be put in IT systems. But then, to some extent, we know prudent taxpayers suffer. I appeal here, if we all have handholdings to curb such illegal practices by having a compliance discipline, then certainly such maker-checker put in the system can be relaxed to many extent. In all the process, role of consultants have been of immense importance. The Chartered Accountants fraternity, in my opinion, is considered to be the most professional and sophisticated amongst all. I don't mean to degrade the other stakeholders in this, but my experience in the GST, which I am witness to this since 2016, that prompts me to mention here that since the initiation process of GST making, ICAI has been quite instrumental. Let me repeat, as I have earlier mentioned with you all, that we had put up 2 drafts of GST model law in public domain. One is somewhere in 25th June and next one was in November. And we invited many suggestions from all across the country. The most valuable suggestions were from ICAI. It compelled us many times to change the draft of various provisions proposed. For example, Schedule 1, 2, 3, the entire scenario got changed. In GST, no single stakeholder is in the driver's seat. We all, that I mean taxpayers, consultants, and the tax administrations are equal contributors to the development of GST journey so far, and would remain the contributor in the years to come. Law provisions and compliances on IT system are the two main fronts you all have to handle skillfully. To keep up with the pace and remain updated, that measures your efficiency. For this, such conferences are quite helpful, where on the common platform you all can exchange your views. Uddharanam, right word used for the theme. ICAI has been organizing such conferences since so many years in both direct as well as indirect taxation field, which must have contributed their members immensely. So I wish you all the success to this August gathering. I am grateful to the organizers to provide me an opportunity to be amongst you and share my views. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for such an appreciation. And
Before we go for a formal vote of thanks, I would like to make one announcement. I am CA Moshmi Shah, Vikasa Chairperson at Pune branch, and we have organized a National Students Conference on 24th and 25th of December for our students. And I would request all of you all to please motivate your articles, your students to participate in this conference, because it would be a really worth attending conference for the students, and they would carry lifetime memories with them. So please, all of us, let's take an effort to give these memories of National Conference to articles. So please ensure that all your articles, all your students have registered for this National Conference, 24th and 25th of December 22 at Pune. Thank you.
may I please request CA Pritesh to felicitate our chief guest? To present the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Saili. Very good afternoon, everyone. It's my absolute pleasure to propose a vote of thanks. First of all, thank you very much to all our participants, to all my professional colleagues, and because of you all only, this conference is at great success. Thank you. Also, I would like to thank our chief guest, Honorable Additional Commissioner, Mr. Dhananjay Akhade sir, Chairman of GST and Indirect Tax Committee, CA Rajendra Kumar Jain sir, Vice Chairman of GST and Indirect Tax Committee, CA Umesh Sharma sir. Thank you to our RCM member, Ruta Chitle ma'am, to our Chairman, CA Kashinath Pathare, Vice Chairman, Rajesh Agarwal, Treasurer, Pranav Apte, and Coordinator of this conference, Ajinkya Randive, my other colleagues and MCMs, Amruta Kulkarni, Sachin Minyar, Moshmi Shah, Rishikesh Badwe, and I would also like to thank CA Jadhav sir for helping us in getting this centrally located venue. Thank you, sir. Also, special thanks to our today's MOC, Saili Chandalia, and also the all staff members of Pune branch. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
I formally announce that the session is over and we would move on to the next session. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Starting with our next session, our next speaker is with us, CA SS Gupta. And CA Moshmi to please introduce our speaker of the session.
A very good afternoon to all. I welcome the next speaker for the day, Shri SS Gupta sir. Let me quickly introduce you and let us know more about the speaker for today. CA SS Gupta sir is a merit ranker from the Bombay University and has ranked second. He is also a first class at Commerce and 8th and 26th rank inter and final respectively in the subject of taxation. He has ranked 3rd and 6th in inter and final respectively in costing at the CA Institute. He is a company secretary as well. His firm employs more than 40 chartered accountants, many articles, and other qualified supporting staff to cater more than 800 clients. The firm has an association with Shri CA Vinod Avtani, advocate, Shri Jagdish Surti at Vapi, advocate, Shri Monarch Bhatt. He is also advising in GST and setting up system for migrating to GST. His advisory services include advising and planning on matters related to GST, excise, customs, service tax, and foreign trade policy. His advising on matters pertaining to 100% EOUs, EPZ, STP, SEZ. He also advises on export related benefits like advance, license, drawback, EPCG. He also practices into litigations areas, replying to show cause notices issued by GST, excise, customs, DGFT, and service tax authorities, drafting appeals to appellate authority, appearing before GST, excise, customs, and service tax authorities. He has also authored books on service tax, How to Meet Your Obligation, which is being published by Taxman Publications. He has authored book on GST law and practice. He is the author of How to Meet Your GST Obligations, which is again published by Taxman. He contributes various articles to journals and has been a regular faculty member for the seminars and lectures organized at ICAI, ICWAI, IMA, and IMC as well. He has authored book on GST audit as well. While doing such a lot into our profession, he has not forgotten about philanthropy. He is a past president of Bharat Vikas Parishad Maharashtra, which has over 1200 branches, and there are 20 branches in Mumbai itself with more than 1200 members. This organization does various activities related to Bal Samskar, Bal Shibir, acupressure, Saraswati Sanman, free distribution of notebooks, Bharat Ko Jauno quiz, tree plantation, blood donation, and so on. He is also a secretary at Arogya Foundation of India, a trust which does activities in the medical field. He is also managing trustee at Sankalp, a charitable trust which runs dialysis center at Santa Cruz and also runs a library in Malad West. He is a treasurer at Mangesh Vishwastha Mandal. It is a charitable trust which runs schools, Mangesh Vidya Mandir, from KG to 10th standard. The school is situated in a slum area and has more than 1,000 students going to the school. He is a chairman of Keshav Shruti located in Bhayandar, which carries out various activities like Gram Vikas, solid waste management, preservation of environment, etc. He is a joint treasurer of Punarvas School at Goregaon, where 175 mentally challenged students are studying. May I request the audience to please join their hands together to welcome the speaker of the day, CA SS Gupta sir. I request CA Pranav Apte sir and CA Sachin Minyar sir to please felicitate our speaker for today. Thank you. Gupta sir, the stage is all yours.
Ms. Mosmi Shah, thanks for nice introduction. Pranav Bhai and Sachin Bhai. And friends, I was listening to Shri Akhade sir very carefully, and he said that all the problems in the indirect taxes which was earlier there, excise, service tax, VAT, have been resolved in GST. I must tell you, there are certain terms which have been interpreted so many times, like immovable property, manufacture. These terms perennially we had problem to interpret. Central Excise Act is 1944. 2017 GST has come. Every time the activity amounts to manufacture or not is a big question.
And therefore, whatever may be the act, immovable property, there are so many judgments. But whether a property is immovable or not, once I was arguing before the commissioner, because excise was not an immovable property. And I said, sir, this is an immovable property, therefore there is no excise should be levied. Because our excise is excisable goods. So goods means movable goods. You know what he told me? He told me, Gupta ji, there is nothing immovable in this world. I said, ऐसे कैसे building है ना? He said, you believe in Lord Hanuman? He brought Parvat from there. So Parvat bhi immovable hai, movable hai. I mean, department can treat anything movable and anything immovable. Anyway, that's not my topic today. Friends, real estate and works contract. Right from the day service tax has been imposed in 2010 on the real estate construction, there have been a lot of dispute on levy of tax. Even today, you all are aware that service tax was introduced with effect from 1st July 2010 on the sale of premises. Even today that problem is there, after OC, before OC and all that. But in 2019, the department has changed the entire system of levying tax on the real estate construction. From 2017 to 2018, there was a tariff entry in serial number 3 in the notification 11 of 2017, and there was a lot of dispute whether on TDR, sale of TDR, tax is leviable, if leviable, when it is leviable, on redevelopment of the premises which are given free to the customers, free to the landowners, free to the SRA authorities, whether tax is leviable or not leviable, there were so many disputes. And very often, after the department always wakes up, because department has a long time to give a show cause notice. They have 3 years as per section 73 and 5 years for section 74. 5 years practically become 6 years because it is 5 years are counted from the date of filing the annual return. And by this time the project is over. Sale is made and then you get a show cause notice. Okay, sir, this is what you have not done. In spite of all robust system and all, we have that. Therefore, the department said you give us a comprehensive planning as to what should be the law to avoid these problems. Anytime it is our experience that whenever one Supreme Court judgment comes on some of the issues and we feel that things now will be settled, the department amends the law. So you are back to this we are seeing in 1944 onwards in excise duty. Senvet credit issue, 1968 onward there was a pro forma credit, and from pro forma credit to 86 VP Singh brought moderate credit. Although I don't know how many of you are practicing, but 86 it came moderate credit. 1994 Mr. Manmohan Singh brought goods on capital, credit on capital goods. 2002 we saw credit on input services. And now 2017 input services and GST. The show cause notices on the availment of credit since 68 till we are in 22 has not stopped. The reasons have changed. That is still going on. And that's the reason why I'm giving a background. Although department has done its best to give the new era of the levy of tax, but there are various issues which will be dealing with it. Now, what was the problem in 1419? Basically, in a redevelopment project. In Mumbai, there is a SRA authority. In various places, you see the problem with the many companies are that there are many landowners whose forefathers have purchased the land. There are many bungalows who have one tenement is there, and now it is being redeveloped into 5-storied building, 6-storied building. In Pune also and in Mumbai also it's regular. Or there are landowners who themselves cannot develop the property. Therefore, they look for the builder, because there are so many regulations to be complied with. Therefore, look for the builder who can develop the property. Either the builder gives him the cash consideration, or the builder gives him some area for him to resell. Landowners get the free constructed area for premises. There were basically various issues. Two of them are to be highlighted. One is when the person gives a TDR, development right, suppose you are a landowner A and you are unable to develop the land, and you call for a builder, sir, please develop the land and give me either a cash consideration, if you take 50 crores, 60 crores, whatever it is you want. Or as against this, you tell him, sir, you give me a property, so many area in your building which you have constructed. The question which came up is, on TDR, whether the GST is payable, first question, and secondly, if yes, when, and second, on the consideration, I mean, if you are giving a free area, whether builder is liable to pay the tax, if yes, what point of time? So the first question on TDR, in GST, you all are aware that Schedule 3 only says the sale of land, and therefore there is a dispute whether on TDR also GST is payable. But notwithstanding that, everybody wants to take a safe view and said GST is payable on TDR. Now a question comes, you are the individual. When you are giving a TDR, you are an owner of the land. You are not in the business of developing the property. As housing society, you are redeveloping. You are providing a TDR to the builder. Are you liable to pay GST? Prior to 19, the answer was yes, subject to only one condition, that if you argue that housing society has not given the TDR in the course or furtherance of business. Because the section 7 says the supply has to be in the course or furtherance of business. But we are not going into that. If the tax was payable, the society said, how will I pay the tax? They said, builder, you please pay the tax. This is one type of tax which was payable immediately when the agreement was entered into. The development, now those who are dealing with the real estate, they know, after the agreement is entered into, it takes at least 3 to 4 years, and sometimes more, to commence the construction. So everybody represented that, look, if I have to pay the tax GST at the beginning of when I enter into TDR agreement, then I'll be cash outflow. And hence a representation was made that you please shift the liability to the end. And that is how this law of making the payment at the end, when you receive the OC, has been made out in the case of residential premises. The second one also was the builder said, look, if as per time of supply rules, the tax is payable either on rendering of services or amount consideration received, whichever is earlier. We all call the premises which are given by builder to the landowner a free. But there is nothing free. The landowner gives him a development right. And that is a consideration for giving the premises free of cost. And there's nothing free in this thing. Why we call free? We as a chartered accountant, have a feeling. See, this is one of the area which, luckily Akhade sir is not there, I can say that. Friends, what is recorded in books of account, it is easy for us to verify. But when consideration is not in monetary terms, it never gets recorded in the books of account. I can give a number of examples. This is one of the simple examples. You must be advising so many builders here. When a builder procures development right, do you record that in the books of account? The answer is no. So many examples can be given where GST is payable. But the consideration, since it is in non-monetary consideration, it doesn't get books of account. And that's why we say it's free. The consideration for providing the premises to the landowner is a development right given by the landowner. Now nobody records development right as a cost and the sale consideration, likely sale consideration, notional value of the premises given free as a sale in the books of account. That's a big problem, one day or the other, because GST is on barter also. One day or the other that thing will come up. Let us see how the department also to find out what is the barter system, for chartered accountant to find out when we certify, and nowadays we are not certifying 9C, to find out whether 9C is, any GST is payable or not for barter is very difficult. Anyway, that's not the subject here. Let me not come into that. That was other issue raised by the builders, that look, if I have to pay GST because I received the consideration in the form of development right, at the time of receiving the development right, if I have to pay GST on the constructed premises, again I'll be out of pocket. The project may go on and may take 4 or 5 years, but tax gets payable immediately. And therefore, this entire scheme after 19 has been made based on these to mitigate these two problems. With the result, there are other problems which have been created, but anyway, this is a basic fundamental things which is there. One thing which has been made out is that the GST now is without input tax credit. You are aware, 1% is the affordable and 5% is the non-affordable rate of tax. That's a basic thing, I don't want to go into that. But that is without input tax credit. As far as the tax administration is concerned, whenever any problem, anything is given without input tax credit, the supplier and recipient always have a problem in reimbursing the tax credit, tax to the supplier. The recipient feels I am giving him a cost, not the tax amount. That's a problem everywhere, not only in this. That problem is now being surfaced by many of the contractors, wherever the rate and other things comes up. The builders are not willing to reimburse the tax amount, saying that I don't get credit, so why should I reimburse you the tax amount? You please adjust somehow in this thing. That's a problem which comes up. Anyway, now we have this, and this is a judgment of Gujarat High Court. Earlier, prior to 1/4/19, you all are aware, 1/3 of the land value which we are deducting for the purpose of arriving at the taxable value. That's a basic, when you make a sale agreement, whatever you state as a construction cost, that normally includes the cost of land. because society is being formed thereafter and land is required to be conveyed or not conveyed subsequently, but the cost includes, the cost purchase from includes that. The law provides a deeming fiction that 1/3 is to be deducted from the consideration. So if your consideration is 60 lakh of rupees, 1/3 you deduct for towards the land, and 40,000 rupees, 40 lakhs you pay the and you pay the GST on your consideration. This was challenged in the Gujarat High Court, saying that law makes a deeming fiction, but is it mandatory for me to provide, to deduct only 1/3, or can I make the actual deduction? Actual my price as a deduction of the land. And Gujarat High Court has held that 1/3 is not mandatory. If you can otherwise substantiate that the land cost is more than 1/3, then you can deduct the actual amount of land cost from your consideration to arrive at the taxable value. Because ultimately, I mean, whatever builder is providing a service is a works contract service, and in works contract you can't include the value of land. Now the judgment is there. No doubt you can definitely fight and get it. Practically it becomes very difficult for everybody to go on collecting the amount based on such judgment. Today everybody knows, every buyer, when you give him a term sheet as to what is payable, you can very well say 60 lakh agreement value, 40 lakhs is a taxable value, and this is the tax which you are required to pay. Now as against this, if you want to deduct more than 1/3, say 50% is your land value, now how will the buyer come to know land value is 50,000 or not, 50% or not? The actual amount of land value, when you are constructing the premises to substantiate to the buyer, will be a big question mark. And therefore, theoretically you can say I can deduct the actual amount, but in practical terms this judgment cannot be implemented. Basically you will find it very difficult to convince the buyer. Today the law is known, 1/3 is to be deducted. But you go and convince the buyer, sir, it is 50%, it is 60%. I mean, how will you substantiate that portion? So therefore, it's just for a knowledge of this thing. And anytime, I mean, you definitely have in Mumbai, like 1 lakh, some of the South Mumbai, you have a huge land value. Construction cost remains the same, 5,000, 6,000 rupees a square feet. But the land value is 40,000 square feet, 50,000 square feet. There certainly, if the group of person comes up, suppose you are constructing the 25 tenements, and 25 out of 25 tenements, some 20 tenements are brought by a group of family. There all you can take this view, that I will deduct the actual cost to reduce my GST. But not if you are selling it to general public, then it will be very difficult for you to take this thing. So 1419 we came up, and 1419 we gave the option to this. As on that date, the option was available to the existing builders that if you want to continue with the old scheme, please continue with the old scheme. And if you want to offer the new project, I mean ongoing project, then you can go for the new 1% and 5% rate. Subject to, because earlier you were getting a credit, now you are not getting a credit. So as on 31st of March 19, the credit available with you is required to be knocked off, is required to be reversed back. They have given a very complicated formula for reversing of the credit, which we can't discuss here. But basically what the formula said is, principally, whatever tax you have paid on the constructed premises, which has been constructed prior to 31st of March 19, on that tax, whatever credit is available to you, you can take it. Balance credit is required to be reversed back. And if you have taken a less credit, then balance credit you can take in future. That's what the formula in principle said. I mean, that's very complicated because, see, this is what happens in construction industry. The credit and the sale does not commensurate with each other. That's a basic fundamental problem which we could not explain to National Anti-Profiting Authority also. What happens normally when you sell an item, a customer, the dealer sells you an item X, a pen he sells you. The credit of pen is there and the sale price is there. So that linkage can be made. But in a constructed premises, what happens is, the agreement is entered into and the slab, the amount is given payable by the buyer depending on the slab which you have casted. So if you are saying that 5% is payable on the 4th slab and another 10% is payable on the 7th slab, you are getting a credit when you have casted a 5th slab also, 6th slab also. The credit is available to you. But you do not have a corresponding output supply for that. I hope you are understanding. There is a time lag between the sale price when you will price to him, bill to him when the 7th floor is casted. But credit will always come to you when 5th is casted, 6th is casted, 7th is casted. And then thereafter the engineer will certify and then you will raise an invoice. That time the output will come. The National Profiting Authority has considered when somebody is casted 6th floor, he said, your credit is more. We broke our head to explain, sir, credit is more. Yes, it is bound to be more because I have not raised the invoice for 5th and 6th floor. So you can't compare this. But that's not in this also same thing. In the ongoing project, that is why the formula is very complicated because credit and the sale does not synchronize with each other. If you reverse the credit, then you can go for a new formula, 1% or 5%. Then there's no question of any credit. But if you have not reversed the credit, then, if you opted for this, if you opted for the ongoing project, then you are required to submit this. Now the question comes up is this. Can a developer and landowner offer different rate of tax? 12% or 5% under the same project which has single RERA registration. In this case, as I said, many of the project builder is developing and out of, suppose he is constructing 100 flats, he is providing a 40 flats to landowner for the development right which he has given to him. Landowner also intends to sell those flats because on 40 flats he is not going to stay. When he sells, the builder has opted for an ongoing project 12% in the earlier rate. And the landowner says, I don't want to go for this because I don't get any credit. I want to go for 1% or 5%. Can he go for that? The answer is no. It's a project-wise calculation which has been made by the builder. The landowner here is in a problem because he does not get a credit, but he has to pay 12%. Now there, both will have to, the answer is to this question is no. But whatever, see this is where the planning comes up. Whatever builder has paid for the 40 premises which is given to landowner, the landowner can take credit of that and pay the tax when he sells it. The landowner, when he gets the 40 units, he will sell during construction, and when he sells during construction, he will recover the tax from the buyer. Am I right? I hope you are understanding all those things. The buyer, he will recover from buyer. When he pays the tax to the buyer, to the authority, the tax paid by builder can be adjusted as a credit, provided builder has paid the tax during construction. As I said in the beginning, the option is given in the new era that builder can pay the tax at the time of OC. If builder pays the tax at the time of OC, the question of credit will not come into picture. Therefore, builder should be advised, sir, the landowner has sold 20 flats out of 40 or 30 flats out of 40. For 30 flats, you pay the tax immediately so that the landowner can take the credit and set it off against the tax payable. That's possible. So then the landowner will not have any out of pocket. Otherwise, what will happen is, if the builder pays at the end, landowner recovers during construction period, then the land credit will go waste in this. Of course, some people have taken a view that landowner is not required to pay the tax again when he resells it. That's a view which department may not agree to that, and therefore subsequently if the demand comes, then it will be impossible. See, indirect tax, this is a big problem, that if you can recover a tax and pay, better to play safe and recover and pay. Because subsequently if the demand comes up, then you can't have anything. Then the next one is, project is taken over. Even if the project is taken over, it remains the same project by somebody. You know, nowadays due to financial crunches, some new person comes like Adani and all that thing and takes over the project. But whatever you opted for, it will remain as the same 12%. After applying extra area of 5,000 square feet has been added to the existing project, the same rate will prevail on the existing project also. Affordable and non-affordable. See, this has been the, we are aware that affordable means 60 square feet less than area, area should be less than 60 square feet and sale price should be 45 lakhs. The notification defines how to compute 45 lakhs. You see, in the agreement you have that, you have a price for construction, then you have price for society formation, legal formation, development and all that facilities and all those things. So many charges are also levied at the time when the possession is given. The notification there, when it gives a 45 lakhs computation, and sometimes if there is a delay, you charge interest also. In that computation of 45 lakh, because the notification gives a special formula, the provisions of section 15 will not apply. So, if you are recovering interest, then you are not liable to, in computing 45 lakhs, you are not required to include the interest element. Because the formula is given in the notification itself, how to arrive at 45 lakhs. Same way, other charges, which is development charges or clubhouse charges and all, that is not there. That's basically for construction activity what is required. That is required to be added in the 45 lakhs. Otherwise, your balance amount is not required by it. The rate is 1% and 5% after 19 if you are starting a project after 19. This was the main issue, and as I said, explained to this thing. So what the issue was, when somebody gives a TDR, the tax is payable, but the government said, I will collect the tax at the end. All right. Now there are two things. Today, rate of 1% and 5% of residential is without any credit, and rate of 12% on commercial is with credit. That's the rate. The industry argued that, look, whatever I am paying on TDR, I am not getting a credit. And the cost of TDR is all inbuilt in my cost of construction. See, ultimately when you buy TDR, suppose you are paying a consideration in cash, say 50 lakh rupees or 5 crore rupees you pay, you would add the cost in your construction of the sale premises. So, if on the entire sale premises, I have paid GST, you have got the GST for all value, then why ask for GST on TDR again? I hope you got my point. That's a basic logic. You know, some people say after OC also tax is levied. The logic is that if I have to pay on something on input, then at the end, if I pay on everything on my entire sale price, sale area, then nothing is payable on the TDR. Because that GST payable on TDR gets included in my sale price, whatever tax is payable on my premises. That is the reason why they have exempted the supply of TDR and long-term lease charges. Otherwise, long-term lease, you know, I do not know about Bombay, but otherwise, Navi Mumbai, Sidco has a problem, Mahada has a problem, that all those who are giving all development authority who are giving on a lease has a big issue. And therefore they said, look, you pay the GST on the entire premises which you have constructed, and we have no problem. You need not pay the GST on TDR and this again. Because of the credit we have already truncated, and that is the reason why, when you construct the premises, either you sell during construction or whatever remains on OC, the law provides that you pay GST on that also, on the value which is prevailing at that price. So if you have paid on the entire value, then this is the value on which the tax. Now this is a basic logic under which the Vasantha Green, the tribunal judgment in the case of Vasantha Green has been formed. You see, this I am just submitting it. Very often what has happened in the past, when the builder has entered into an agreement with the landowner, and landowner, he's provided a constructed, in consideration he has provided a constructed premises, the landowner, he has not paid the tax on the constructed premises. And department has taken a view that when the land, whatever is given to the landowner, the builder is required to pay the service tax or GST on the constructed premises given to the landowner. Vasantha Green has said no, nothing is payable. In SRA also the same thing is there. Nothing is payable because the cost of that construction is already inbuilt by him in the sale area which he is going to sell. And since that cost is inbuilt, there is nothing required to be paid again by him. Therefore, they said that Vasantha Green. Now, if you are advising any client that Vasantha Green is to be applied, no taxes payable, then I must tell you that the department has challenged that in the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court is going to decide that issue. So if you are willing to contest, then you can take it. Otherwise, then pay the tax on that. So this is the way why supply of TDR and long-term lease has been exempted under these notifications, subject to that payment of tax on the final one. As regards commercial, now see, commercial you must understand. Commercial you get credit and 12% is the tax payable. Now therefore, when the TDR comes for a commercial area, construction of a commercial area, a consideration if in the form of a cash, that is consideration taken in say 50 crore builder has paid, and therefore he said everything which I will construct I will sell it. The other possibility is that the landowner has said, you give me a premises of 10,000 square feet or 20,000 square feet whenever the construction takes place, and there is no other cash consideration. In case of cash consideration, the tax is payable immediately. The notification does not provide for postponement of liability when the cash consideration for development of commercial premises is given. There is a reason for it. The entire basis why credit represented saying that builder is going to be out of pocket if he pays GST. The department said you have a money to pay 50 crores to the landowner for purchasing development right. Then you should have money to pay GST also at the same time. The entire basis which you are asking for postponement of liability because the builder doesn't have money to pay at the beginning. Now if you can pay to the landowner 50 crore rupees, then why not pay to GST also 9 crore rupees? And that is why in case of consideration is paid in cash means by check, don't misunderstand me. By check, then the immediately tax is payable. Kindly see this will also have revenue share. In revenue share also the consideration is in cash, the tax is payable immediately, it is required to be estimated. The credit is available to the builder. No doubt whatever he pays his credit is available to the builder. And same way, if, what I said about the landowner in residential case, because if the constructed premises is given to the landowner and landowner sells during construction, the builder should also pay the tax on TDR as well as on the premises during construction so that the credit can be availed by the landowner immediately. So this is the reason why on commercial there is a slightly difference, and residential there is slightly different treatment which has been given. Reverse charge, as I said, okay, very clearly. See, reverse charge mechanism is a mechanism by which the administrative convenience has been taken by the department for collection of tax. The time is not there, otherwise there is an old story. Andher Nagri Chaupat Raja, somebody may have heard it. Takke sher bhaji, takke sher khaja. That I can't say now, the beep chalu ho jayega. I've been told that once time is over, the beep will start. The basic fundamental thing is that catch the person who can pay the tax. And that's the reason why, as I said, landowners, individual persons very often, cooperative society you can catch. But many people, the defunct factories, in Mumbai there are so many factories which have almost come in liquidation now, and therefore there is that those are being developed. So they felt it is better to make the tax on a reverse charge basis so that the builder can pay the tax. But one thing I must tell you, the reverse charge tax is payable only if the tax is payable by the supplier of service. These all which I'm saying, you'll have to dispute it. These will dispute the department. Suppose you're developing a cooperative housing society, and you want to take, and they are given a development right. The development right which is given by the cooperative housing society, as I said, as per law, whatever remains unsold at the time of OC, you are required to pay the tax. That's the logic behind. Now, if you argue that whatever development right is given by the society, the tax itself is not payable because of the fact that the society has not given the development right in the course or furtherance of business. It has to be the business of the society to give development right and make a development. That cooperative society makes one-time development for its members. It is not in the course or furtherance of their business. Like we as a chartered accountant daily do the auditing and certification and all that. That's a course of my profession. But cooperative society doesn't do that. If you argue that, then at the end whatever tax is payable, that is not payable because on TDR per se given by the society, the tax itself was not payable. If builder can sell all the premises and recover GST from the purchaser, there is no issue. But if the chunk of the premises remains unsold and the tax liability as per that notification comes up in this thing, then you can argue, take a view. Then even on reverse charge also, the tax will not be payable if you make this argument. Landowner promoter, now the notification itself provides that landowner promoter, when he sells the premises to the society, resells the premises to the third person, the landowner promoter will get the credit of the GST paid by the builder. That notification itself provides. See, normally, as I said, 1% or 5% of the tax amount is without any credit. So, landowner, if suppose he gets a 40 units from the builder, and out of which 25 he sells during construction, the builder pays the tax for 25 units and gives him an invoice. The invoice, on the basis of that invoice, the builder will have to upload that invoice in GSTR 1 and the credit will be available to the landowner promoter. One can ask that out of 180, you are required to pay the consideration within 180 days of the raising of the invoice as per section 16(4) for availment of credit. The amount shown by the builder in the invoice is already paid by the landowner. That payment is in the non-monetary consideration in the form of a TDR or development right. Now, this, as I said in the beginning, we are not recording the books of account. you can record that in the books of account and then show the sale. So the amount as net of payment is made within 180 days. So that the credit is available to you. That credit you can offset against the tax payable. However, if a landowner promoter sells the premises subsequent to OC, the tax itself is not payable by him because of the OC is there, but tax is payable by the builder unless the builder wants to take the shelter of Vasanta Green and fight out the issue. If the builder pays the tax subsequent to receipt of OC, then no credit will be available to the landowner because of the fact that the tax on that premise is not sold. Itself is not payable. This is a new, there was a dispute whether landowner promoter is liable to pay the tax again or not. But this mechanism has been made. Although this is only for residential premises, but same logic you can apply for a commercial premises also and then avail the credit. Even for the past, past those prior to 19 also, if you have such issues, then you can raise this issue. Time of payment. See, as I said in the beginning, every builder has this issue of when to make the payment of tax. But now notification is provided, very clearly provided by 6/2019 under section 1, issued under section 148. The liability to pay the GST by the builder on TDR under reverse charge or on the constructed premises on the which he supplies to the person who was given a TDR accrues to him at the end on receipt of OC. However, there is nothing to prevent him to pay the tax earlier. The builder has a choice to pay the tax earlier, and in many cases it is advisable to pay earlier because you are able to get the credit. For example, in commercial premises, when you are developing a commercial premises, you have taken a TDR from somewhere, you have a choice to pay the tax at the end. But if you pay at the end, the chunk of the credit will come at the time of OC, where you will adjust that credit. You understood that? Because in commercial you get a credit. So what you can determine that in commercial I have to pay tax of 5 crore rupees. I can pay when I am selling these premises during construction, I have to pay my liability of 50 lakh rupees by cash. I can pay 50 lakhs out of that 5 crore payable, and like this I keep an account and go on paying up to and I pay 5 crore. The notification does not debar you for making a payment of tax earlier than what is provided. However, if you are no sale, nothing is, no liability is there, then you can very well defer the tax amount to the end of this thing. Now they are very clearly provided, so there is nothing. This I said in commercial, in cash consideration and in the revenue share, that the notification does not apply, and therefore the tax will be payable on the date of entering into agreement itself. This you must see, 1% or 5% of the tax is with certain conditions, and that we must understand. The notification itself specifically provides that the tax will be payable in cash through your electronic cash ledger. Whatever credit may be available with you, the tax will be payable in electronic cash ledger. That notification will provide. This is one of the notifications which makes such a provision. There are n number of, like this hotel, food rate 5%. That there is, rate is 5% without input tax credit. But it does not prohibit you to pay the tax from a credit. It is not necessary that you must pay in cash. Suppose you are a hotel doing accommodation service and having a restaurant also. And from accommodation service you have a lot of credit. Same registration you have for hotel, for restaurant also and for accommodation also. The credit available in accommodation can be adjusted in payment of tax on restaurant. There is no prohibition in the notification. But this notification under 6 by 1 by 2017, 11 by 2017, specifically says that if you are going for 1% or 5%, then you must pay the amount from cash ledger. And therefore, I mean, those who are having an ongoing project, initially in 19, and if you have some amount of credit left out, which you are carrying forward, that credit cannot be used for payment of tax on the sale of the premises. However, the credit can be used for the purpose of when you are providing a possession, you are recovering a maintenance tax, maintenance charges 2 years and 1 year, and there are so many other charges, development charges, on which you pay 18% normally, and that 18% and this is payable on this. The 1% and 5% which I have been saying, the question has also come up that whether 1% will be charges for other charges also, which are recovering for development right, for clubhouse charges, for your society, these charges, formation charges, legal charges, so many charges which builder goes on living, If you are selling the premises on parking charges, if you are selling the premises during construction, and it's a mandatory for everybody to pay those charges. So it's mandatory for him to buy one parking. Then you can argue that it becomes a composite supply, and principal supply is a sale of premises. Therefore, on the entire value, I am required to pay only 1%. Of course, this department can contest, but you are very 99% you will succeed in the tribunal level as and when formed. The composite supply, definition itself is that when you are making a one or more supply, taxable supplies. However, if you are selling the premises after OC, and you see during construction you have sold, you have recovered those charges, you have argued that it's a composite supply, therefore I will pay 1%. If you are selling the premises after OC, on construction, you have no GST, because it is Schedule 3 transaction, which says that it is not a supply. But other charges which you recover, that you cannot say now that I will not pay GST on that also, because it's not a composite supply. For composite supply, you have to have two taxable supplies. As per Schedule 3, the sale price itself is not, the sale of premises is not a supply at all. Therefore, it's going to be, many people don't charge at all. वो ऐसा नहीं करना. Other charges में you are required to pay GST, because this is not a construction supply and you cannot take a shelter of a composite supply. The main supply, principal supply is not considered supply. It is a Schedule 3 item. You must have, seen the Schedule 3 in that. The other problem which we face is, you have made one as a mandatory parking, but somebody wants to go for 2 parking and 3 parking. That is optional. Once something is optional, then you can't include in the composite supply. On the second parking, you will have to pay 18%. On the first parking, you can say it's part of my sale of the construction premises, and therefore I will have to charge 1% or 5% tax on this thing. The compliance to the condition of new road is very essential. See, this is very essential. This is where chartered accountants' role is very essential. Most of the time what we see is that this is required to be complied project-wise, RERA project-wise. And if a builder has 4 projects, 5 projects running out, the RCC consultant is common, the architect is common, sometimes you buy cement, which is common. for all the projects. Steel which you buy, there is no bifurcation available. What this requires is, the condition is that 80% of your input or input services, bearing some of the items, must be purchased from a registered person. And cement must be purchased from a registered person. Now this otherwise, if you have purchased less amount of from registered person, then on the difference you are required to pay GST at the rate of 18%. So if your accounting is not a project wise, you will not be able to substantiate that my 80% of purchase is from a registered person. You need to have accounting project wise, and this is required to be complied annually. See why I am saying this? This has started from 19, and 19-20 return we must have filed in December 20. The audit of these returns will start only in 23-24. At that point of time, department will say, you please give me project-wise compliance of these 80% condition. And if you do not have that, then there will be a problem. They will just rate down difference 18%. One major factor which is always there, if you are borrowing the interest from a bank, bank is a registered person, but many of the builders take the loan from individuals who are in the business of providing the loan itself. There are a number of HNIs, high net worth individuals, who gives loan to the builder. And since their major income is interest, which is exempt from payment of GST, most of them are not registered. And interest is a cost which builder incurs. If you make the interest individual is non-registered, and if you say that the interest is I have taken cost incurred from a non-registered person, आपका 20% तो उसमें ही चला जाएगा. So you must ask the individual that you please register in GST. No tax is payable by him, but at least when you are complying with this, your GST R1, GST R3B you are filing, then you are no problem will be there in the. So it will be considered as a interest cost procured from a registered person. So that you must comply with. Compliance of these conditions, project wise, we are facing a lot of problem when the accounting comes up, because on the site sometimes steel gets transferred from one place to another place, cement get transferred, and then substantiation of the purchases is a big task. Unless you have that, then some of the wings in the same project are registered separately in RERA. Therefore, that needs to be separately kept, accounting needs to be separately kept for those purposes. This is all essential, because ultimately when you pay something more, you won't get the credit for the whatever you have paid. And whatever credit you are not getting, you are required to disclose that in the ineligible credit amount. Now in the new rule, there is no place available. This I already discussed in this thing. Reversal of credit. See, if you have opted for a new project, new rate, credit itself is not available, then the question of reversal on the rate of OC does not come up. The reversal can come only if you opted for the old rate. That means you continue with 12% and 8%, whatever is there. But if you opted for the new project, new rate, then the question of reversal doesn't come, because you are not getting a credit of 1% and 5% at all on those things. But if you have opted commercial premises remaining unsold, or you opted the old rate, then as per Rule 42, the credit is required to be reversed based on the constructed premises, area of the premises remaining unsold compared to the area, total area which is being constructed. There was a lot of lacuna in the rule during the period 17 to 19. The credit reversal was not based on the area constructed, whereas the credit is, I am getting credit based on the area which I have constructed. But the reversal was not based, reversal was based on the value. And every year, whatever you sell, the reversal was required to be made. It was an annual, monthly basis that reversal was required to be computed prior to 19. But if your OC has come subsequent to 19, then you are required to reverse the credit based on the area which remains unsold on the date of OC compared to the total area constructed, of the sellable area constructed. The earlier lacuna was not there, and once you reverse, the earlier lacuna has been rectified. Once you reverse the credit, you will sell subsequently. Suppose you got the OC in 2021, premises remaining unsold, you reverse the credit. Then you will sell those premises in December 21, January 22. On those premises, you are not again required to reverse the credit. You already reversed it earlier. I mean, the law by deeming fiction in section 17.3 says that it is an exempted supply. It is, I mean, those who know section 17.3, they say the law has provided the sale of premises after OC will be considered as an exempted supply for the purpose of reversal of credit. Although in Schedule 3 they have specified these premises, and as per Schedule 3 it's not a supply, but for a limited purpose of reversal of credit on Rule 42 and 43, it is considered as exempt supply. Many department is taking a view, you again reverse the credit. Once you already reverse the time of OC, based on this Rule 42 and based on the area, then again when you are computing the value of exempted supply, which you sell it subsequently, you are not required to include that value in the exempted supply, subject to only one condition, that the expenses directly incurred for the purpose of selling the premises will not be available as a credit. For example, you have paid brokerage charges, or you have somewhere you have advertised about that project which remains unsold. So the advertisement, the broker has charged you the GST, the advertiser has charged you GST. So if those direct expenses are available, then the question of reversal of availment of credit of direct expense will not come in this thing. Otherwise, once you reverse the credit, then the question of reversal again doesn't come into picture. The same thing applies for the commercial project also. Manner of record, I am again repeating, because most of the builders do not keep the project-wise record, and therefore to substantiate that 80% reversal, 80% purchases from the registered person will going to be a challenging task, and hence it is advisable that we keep this record properly. This is one area, activity of plotted development. See, this plotted development activity, basically what happens is some builder buys the land, then it cuts the plot, say 1000 square feet, 5000 square feet, depending on the various areas. He makes certain development, like he constructs the road, common road, electricity, pipeline, water, etc., etc. He goes on developing that. And thereafter he sells the plot itself, the plot which has been approved, I mean the design of the plot which has been approved. Once the plot is sold, the premises, the purchaser can give the contract for construction of bungalow or duplex or whatever it is to the builder himself, or he can appoint an independent contractor for doing this. Builder has the standard design for the premises which he can adopt for this. The question which has come up is, now sometimes the premises is sold, the plot is sold when the development is going on, and sometimes the plot is sold when entire development has been made. These are both the things are possible, and nothing more is service is required to be provided. Up till now we have been paying the tax on the development charges at the rate of 18%. But now the circular they have clarified that sale of developed plot is nothing but the sale of land itself. And therefore there will be no GST on the sale of developed plot. So if after development you have taken the, somebody has, builder has sold the premises, sold the plot to the buyer, since it's a sale of land itself, there will be no GST on the sale of developed plot. Because of this circular, earlier people who have been paying the tax have now not paid the tax, now they stop paying the taxes. But there's one issue. Very often what happens is, if the builder sells, say 100 plots, 125 plots, then he develops certain common facilities like club, garden, playground, stadium, etc. He develops so many common facilities he developed. And the one example which I gave you, development of a road, water pipeline, electricity, etc., are essential for the purpose of staying, I mean, to make the area habitable. But these common facilities are for the enjoyment of the person who was staying in the developed plot. There is a slight distinction. Therefore, that issue is there, whether for a common facilities like the clubhouse or garden or stadium, the charges which are recovered for that for the purpose of whether GST is payable or not. Undoubtedly, they have clarified that for the facilities which are required, like the road, etc., no GST is payable. But in our opinion, that for whatever charges are recovered for common facilities like clubhouse and all, the GST will be payable, because that is not a part of a construction or sale of a plot. It's a separate facility provided by the builder. But that is notwithstanding, you see what happens is circular when it comes, every buyer starts resisting the payment of GST. And this is only by way of a circular. Tomorrow if circular gets withdrawn, the entire liability will come on the developer. But that risk, any business will have to take the risk. There is no thing which can be done on this. So this is a developed plot in this thing. I think cancellation of apartment. This is one major issue. Very often the premises purchased by a buyer gets cancelled for various reasons. The cancellation may take place in 1 year, 2 years or 3 years, whatever is there. We are all aware that as per section 34, I can issue him a credit note by November of the next financial year. So by 21-22, I can give him November 22 credit note. I can adjust the tax amount in my GST return. There is a problem. If you look at section 34, it only talks of return of goods. It doesn't talk of return of services. So whether a credit note can be issued or not itself is a question, but goods and service have been treated as equal as per various Supreme Court judgment. Therefore, you can argue that up to section November 22, whatever cancellation takes place, I will adjust my 21-22 tax payment. But if some tax payment happens to be prior to April 21, where the period has already lapsed, as per section 54, we are required to make a refund claim within 2 years from the date of payment. If the period of 2 years is not lapsed, you cannot do anything. Refund also you cannot claim. But if the 2 years are not lapsed, the refund can be claimed. The question that comes up is, who will claim the refund? Whether the builder will claim a refund or the buyer will claim a refund. The builder, if he goes for a refund for cancellation of flat, then the question of unjust enrichment comes into picture. The builder has already recovered from the customer and he has paid to the department. Therefore, whenever builder will claim a refund, his refund will be rejected on the ground that the builder has already recovered the amount from the customer. And therefore, no question of giving the refund arises. The buyer, as per section 54, if you look at the exact wording, any person who has borne the incidence of tax can claim the refund. So if a buyer has purchased the incidence of, buyer has borne the incidence of tax, which he has because by and large the buyer is purchasing for his residence purposes, and in residence he is using for residence purposes, he is not reselling it to anybody business purpose. And therefore one can say that he has borne the incidence of tax, he can make an application for obtaining refund. In Bombay we have got for some of the buyers, there are basically two questions which needs to be decided, and that has been represented of GST Council also. One is, at what point of time the 2 years period will start? If the 2-year period starts from the date of making a payment of tax, when there was no cancellation, then most of the refund will get time barred, because the cancellation may take place subsequently. Or the 2-year period should start from the date when the buyer has applied for a cancellation. That has been represented because it to the GST Council, and I mean there are other judgment also, which says that 2 years period will start from the date when the buyer has applied for cancellation. This will all have to be contested, and therefore buyer can claim a refund. The claiming of refund by the buyer independently without builder's concurrence is not possible, because ultimately for claiming a refund you will have to have the support from the builder. In a sense, he will give you all the documents to substantiate that tax has been paid by him on the amount which is paid to him. You will have to substantiate that. That only builder can provide you the document that you paid the amount in March 21, 20 lakh of rupees to him against this invoice on which he has paid the tax in March 21. This builder will have to substantiate these documents. But unjust enrichment problem we can cure off. There are judgment which says that once the tax itself was not payable, the department also cannot retain this tax. And since the buyer himself is a person, as a consumer of the goods, services, the refund should be granted to him. But of course in GST, this all refund is not possible. What I am saying is not possible at the lower level. At least at a tribunal level, we may succeed in this thing. This will have to be contested, but refund for cancellation of premises is possible to be obtained. Before I wind up this thing, I must tell you one thing. In a commercial premises, you as a builder sell it to X person. The question which has often been raised that X person can get a credit of GST which is paid to builder. You hope understood, no? If I buy the premises from X, I as a chartered accountant, I go and buy the premises from a builder, and builder charges me GST because I purchased it during construction. And can I take a credit of the GST paid by the builder? The answer is yes. All that, what block credit is defined in section 17.5, and section 17.5C and D, which is there, which prohibits the credit on immovable property. What I am purchasing, what I am paying tax is not an immovable property. It becomes an immovable property when OC is obtained. If I am paying GST, it is treated as a service provided by builder to me. Therefore, it is not an immovable property. It's a service which I received, construction service which I received. That's first aspect. Secondly, 17.5C and D prohibits only when goods or services are used for construction of immovable property. The words are construction, used for construction of immovable property in both section C and D. I am not using this, what service is given by me, by the builder, not for the construction of immovable property. I am using the premises for the purpose of providing a professional services of chartered accountancy. So any person who is not using that premises for construction of the immovable property can avail the credit of this. Friends, this is what I thought. I'll just brief you on the various subjects. Thank you very much for listening. Thanks.
Thank you, sir, for such an informative session. And before we part for lunch break, let me invite. Okay, question answer session would be taken offline, like while we are enjoying our lunches. So may I please invite CA Sachin to formally give thanks to.
Thank you, Sairi. Good afternoon, everyone. I, CA Sachin Minyar, on behalf of Pune branch of WIRC. Thank you, sir, for coming all the way from Mumbai and enriching us with your knowledge about GST on the real estate sector. I really feel that all the participants would have taken a lot of takeoffs from this session. Since we are short of time, we will have the queries one-to-one. But before you all leave, just one more announcement. Our MOC Saili, she has to go out, so I would request Amruta to come on the stage and felicitate Saili. So please wait for 5 minutes, and after her felicitation, we take a break for lunch and join back again at 2:30 for the next session. So Gupta sir would be available offline. We can discuss the queries over here below the stage. Thank you.